Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
A happy hour Friday starts right now. What's going on, everybody? This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And don't forget, you can watch the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com. It's a happy hour Friday. It's also Brodes' last show. We're all sad. Very sad, actually. This is one of the saddest days I've ever had.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
Yeah, it is. It's
a little bit and a little not.
Well, I always appreciate when people leave because they have something bigger and a better opportunity. That's what this is all about. People in this industry, you work at stations. Now, I happen to live in this area, and I've been here for a while. I've had many opportunities to leave. I enjoy our audience. I enjoy being here. Many people that come to work on the show are doing it because they want another opportunity, and I have no problem with that, and I am very happy that you basically don't have the time to do this show anymore.
Yeah, well, I said this before, and I'll say it again, what you and Josh did for me to open up the arms 2 years ago and start from the internship and work all the way to where we are today. It's an incredible journey. It was the first step in the business, and I'll never forget it. So I appreciate both of you and everyone a part of this team. They all opened their arms for me.
Well, we've done so much. We've had so much fun. We've had a lot of different things, and this will be the final time that the two of us go back and forth.
You want to start with Howie Roseman? You want to start with Andrew Knapp? What's one of our better? I mean, I think
that
this
Knapp argument was you were way off base.
No,
on
you
that,
were.
and last season proved it.
You were off base,
right?
I'm always right.
I want you to go back and through some of the arguments that we've had and say that one I was right on, this one I was wrong on. That one last year he proved that he was not the problem that you made him out to be.
All right, fair enough, right? Fair enough. And it's funny you bring this up. And I was thinking on my drive down here that I need to readdress the Ben Simmons debacle that happened earlier this year,
which was
I've cracked. I cracked on Ben Simmons. And now I watch him and I'm like, this is the Ben that I loved. And I wasn't just a Ben Simmons fan before I cracked. I was a Ben Simmons stan. There's a difference. I was you're never going to get one over me and think that he stinks. There's no way. And what I'm seeing as of him lately is just that again. So I cracked, but someone put super glue in me and now I'm fixed.
Well, you know, you've worked with me long enough now to know that I'm usually never too high, never too low. I'm pretty even keel, pretty even Steven. I don't get too overreactional. So there will be times that ticks people off. I get that. I understand that my lack of, and it's not a lack, I'm a huge sports fan. I love every dollar that I have earned in my career has been tied to sports almost in some. Now, I'm not talking about when I was in high school or delivering subs or mowing lawns. I'm talking about post-college. Every dollar that I've ever earned has been attached to sports. I love sports. It doesn't mean because I don't get irrational about it that I have any less passion and drive about sports. Everything in my life, the house that I own, the car that I drive, the girl that I met, the friends that I've made, the places I've been, they're all attached to sports. Of all the people listening, I have more of an attachment to sports and appreciation than almost anybody because I don't have what I have in this life without sports. That being said, my job is to not get irrational. It's not to be over the top. It's to take a step back sometimes and say, I want to be pissed off about this. But that makes me a fan. And so I try not to be a fan. There's a fan part of me that during a game, I'm like, my God, what are you doing? But then my job part of me says, it's Tuesday night in February. They probably went out to dinner last night. His girlfriend's probably complaining. She yelled at him because he didn't flip the laundry over. And that was, bothering him when he stepped on the court. And he didn't have a good game. Fans don't care about that. And I understand that, but it's my job to put that into perspective sometimes. And people get mad at me for it, which I understand. I always say, you don't have to like my opinion. Right? You don't have to agree with my opinion. You don't have to like my opinion. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're talking about. Just because one guy likes the process and the other guy doesn't like the process, because I like the process doesn't mean I'm right about it or wrong about it. We just disagree. And people think that you're not good at your job or they hate you because we have a difference of opinion. It's crazy. And this thing with Ben Simmons, it's like, look, I understand the frustration, but as the host of a show, it's my job to kind of take like an outer body experience and say, am I just being a fan and irrational? And that's why I'm mad at him? Or can I break it down and look at different things and understand better, talk to people, ask questions, use sources and formulate my opinion that way? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about it. But Ben Simmons in general, though, like you're just seeing so many, like these the thing is, it's not sexy because he's not adding the 3-point game or the jump shot, but what he's adding offensively within his skill set is starting to become very noticeable.
All right. So I wrote the article about Ben and being the Dennis Rodman, not saying that he's like rebounding but the fact that he's the third star. And that third star is an unconventional one. He's not a star in that he's a scorer or that he's this elite shooter or whatever. He's a star in that he has an elite skill set that nobody else possesses that's not scoring.
Yeah. But I wonder, though, is he starting to maybe become more of that scorer? Are we going to see him averaging in the 20s? Is what we're seeing in February what you're going to see more times than not? Or is this happening because Embiid's having some struggles and he's stepping up a little bit? If Joel Embiid gives you 35, are you going to see the same 24 out of Ben Simmons? Or is this just a product of Joel Embiid maybe having a little bit of a back to reality type of stretch, which is fine. It's not like crazy to think someone's going to dip off of 37 points every single night a bit.
It's interesting because I think yesterday I talked about what was the over-under? 31.
It was.
And I was like, nah, he can't just keep hitting that all the time. And I forgot Boban was on that team.
He stinks. He is so bad. I watched him fall and get up, and it took him 9 years to get up from the floor. And then he started to trot back on defense. How is this guy in the NBA? He's 7 foot and 300.
And he can make a little elbow jumper. He's got more range than Simmons does.
When he gets an offensive board, he places the ball back in the basket. He doesn't have to jump or lay it in.
There was one last night where he missed it, and then he got the rebound and just put it back, and he missed it again. He got it, and he's like, all right, let me just put this thing down there that. My God. But, they got Boban, they got Cauley Stein, and okay. But Simmons, man, and this is like something that, again, I talked about this the other day. You weren't here it was Wednesday's show, and I said, if you just watched Ben Simmons and just didn't watch the rest of the game and just watched him, he is now. Sometimes he's just standing there doing nothing, and you're like, he's clogging up the ray. But there's other times where he's just so patient with his placement, and a lot of times it's when he drives into the lane, and then he gives up the dribble, and then which is it's a bad thing that he does, but he turns it into a good thing because he does something bad. But then when he does something bad, he doesn't panic, and it's like, okay, I made a mistake. Let me get out of this thing. Let me think how I can get out of it. All right, I'll just wait here for an extra split second, and I'll just wait for that guy to come down and double me. And then when he does, I'll find the guy that's wide open. Where a lot of other people, they dribble drive down the lane, and then they don't have a plan. And then what do? They just kick it right out because, I made a mistake, and then they kick it right out, and that kick out does nothing for them. Ben's patience allows the others to have this extra split second, that extra one step that the hand just can't get out there, that the defender just can't get out there. And on nights when they're making shots, they're going to be tough because of that. And last night was another night that they made shots. Now, the bench had a tremendous game last night, but what's the story last night? The bench stepping up and having that game that they had, or that Ben Simmons essentially took Luka Doncic by the neck and said, you're not getting anything tonight. He had him like a rubber chicken.
Yeah, it was that one. It's definitely the defense. And not just Ben Simmons. The team defense was awesome. But here's Luka Doncic when guarding Ben Simmons per NBA.com. 6 points, 0 for 3 from 3, 4 turnovers. It's a nice day at the office.
It is a nice day at the office. And when I read that this morning, Bodner from The Athletic said he had like a whole thing about when they defended him with Ben and when they didn't. And my question kind of came to this. Can you feel confident about being a championship contender because Ben Simmons is potentially the best on-ball defender? Is that enough to say championship contender because of that, and that what Joel Embiid gives you offensively and what Ben Simmons gives you defensively, and then the pieces around, like as a team, is that good enough?
I don't know, only because you have one Ben Simmons, and the Brooklyn Nets have 3 of those guys that you need to stop. So you can't put Ben on everybody. And that's where my concern is. With these teams that have enough firepower, like the Mavericks are underachieving this season. Let's be realistic. So Luka, if you dominate Luka, you're probably going to be in a good position to win. But if you take away James Harden or Kevin Durant, well, the other one's going to be available, and he's probably going to be guarded by who? Danny Green, who's definitely losing a step right now.
Well, in that kind of series, do you use more Thibault?
You probably have to, but you're going to lose. The difference between Thibault and Danny Green on the offensive side of spacing is a difference.
Definitely different, but you're hoping between now and the end of the year, maybe you can get Thibault up to speed. I love the fact that he played 15 minutes the other night and shot 5 threes. I love that because that's them saying, don't worry, keep shooting. You can shoot. If you're open, take the shot. And I think by, not maybe this year, but like 2 years down the road, Thibault might be a guy that can knock down an open jumper. Remember Bruce Bowen, the defensive player for the Spurs? He was a awful offensive player. He was not a guy. I'm going to look up his career numbers.
Kawhi was a guy, too, that was just all defense. Nothing
Thibault was compared very favorably to Kawhi coming in as a defensive guy who did not score. But Bruce Bowen, if you remember Bruce Bowen, he was a guy who was not a big scorer. For his career, he averaged 6 points per game. But as a three-point shooter, he was 33, 26. But he worked himself up that by the time he was 30 years old, he led the league in three-point percentage, hitting 44% of his threes. He went from 26% to 44%. And by the end of his career, he was a guy. He didn't shoot a lot of threes. He only averaged 2.4 three-point attempts in his career. He never shot more than 3.1 a game in a season. But when he took them, he made them. So if Thibault can turn into that player that, hey, if you're going to give me 2 or 3 a night, I'm going to knock them down, that could be a huge thing. And that's one of the things about Thibault that I get concerned about moving on from him about, is that a guy like Bruce Bowen, someone like that, a defensive, Bruce Bowen's like a Hall of Fame level defensive player, but, he wasn't a big scorer.
Well, his shot's not broken. It's not ugly. There's nothing wrong with it visually or structurally, if you will. So, yeah, Matisse Thibault, and I think he knows, and I'm sure Doc Rivers knows, that if he gets an offensive game, you might not be able to take this guy off the floor. Right now, we're questioning when you can put him on the floor because you can't play with Ben and Dwight Howard because the spacing's all out of whack. They have a bad efficiency rating together. But if you get him a jumper, now you're talking about something so serious with this kid. And by the way, our very own Paul Hudrick tweeted this out 9 minutes ago in regards to Tobias Harris. The team confirms that Tobias Harris has no structural damage to his right knee. He will be listed out against Cleveland with a right knee contusion and will be reevaluated in 48 hours. So that was a little scary last night, although I didn't really see what happened. I just saw that he wasn't going to return.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really saw it. I didn't see anybody say, though, he hurt his knee on this play. It was the bruised knee, had a contusion in his knee, and that he would not return. But I don't think anybody really pinpoint when it actually happened. They very quickly breezed past it on the broadcast last night. Oh, by the way, Tobias Harris will not return with a knee contusion. And that was it. They never really went back to it.
No, they threw Mike Scott in the mix, and Mike Scott ended up hitting some threes. I thought Seth Curry had a strong game, but the moral of the story for me is that defense and what you did. Ben Simmons started it, of course, but I thought the team defense, the Dallas Mavericks had 20-plus turnovers, which led to a lot of Sixers points. By the way, the Sixers did a good job of keeping the rock in their hands. They weren't turning the ball over. So all around, it was nice to see a dominant performance. And how many times in the recent games we've seen a team push back and bleed through in the third, fourth quarter? Not last night.
Oh, they just strangled them to death last night and never let go. It was one of the more dominating performances from the Sixers. And look, the Mavericks are a 500 team. They had a lot of expectations coming into the season, but for the most part, they've kind of been a disappointment. But that was the kind of game last night that, man, when you saw the efficiency from the Sixers, the way they scored, the way they defended, you were like, they could beat anybody in the league if they're playing like that. Now, the problem is you lose Tobias Harris. He only played 22 minutes last night. You obviously, if he was out, which doesn't look like he will be, because this is interesting, Brodes. The one position that we've said they really need to figure out is that backup stretch forward to Tobias Harris. Well, it appears that they're going to get a couple nights without Harris. How are they going to fill that role? We're about to find out. Are they going to go to Mike Scott? Is he going to be the guy that gets the starter minutes? Are they going to do some sort of collaboration with Scott? And I don't even know who else they would have. Who else is like a power, like would be a quote unquote stretch four on this team?
I don't know. I don't know what you would do. I don't think the first person that comes to my mind that maybe could you do something with the Tony Bradley, but like not really. He's not that position at all. But I'm just saying because of your lack of bodies, is that a situation where you kind of throw the guy out there?
I got an idea. What about using Thibault?
Well, that's what I was thinking. You probably could go small with some of these smaller players.
And
and maybe
6'5". I mean,
it's
you could
pretty
use
small, but
for the 4 spot, right?
Right.
The traditional 4. But if you used him,
I don't think Tony Bradley makes sense at all. I'm just trying to throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
that one's not sticking.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, but you don't have many options. You know, you really
Danny
don't.
Green 6'6". You use Danny Green and Thibault together.
That's probably the road that you would go.
I would imagine Mike Scott gets the start.
Yes.
And jumps in as the 4.
Well, what about Ben? Ben plays the 4. Shake Milton comes in as the 1. Something like that.
I guess you could go that way. You could go Mike Scott, Danny Green, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Curry. Or you can go move Harris comes out and Milton goes in.
I know this is we've seen
Your
it.
boy Korkmaz.
Corky do. That's right.
Now Corky had a huge night the night before, and last night he only gets 19 minutes.
Yeah,
a little disappointed.
Well, I mean, because what he did is not really the standard. It's more of the outlier. But we've seen this happen in the beginning of the season. Very, very, very limited. And based off of circumstances, I wonder if you ever see it. What about Embiid and Dwight? The 2 towers back there. Just for, a couple quick minutes. You got to try and find some minutes somehow. Would you ever see Doc in a regular season matchup be like, hey, let's just throw the 2 big men out there and see what happens, kind of? I just know he did it before.
I would imagine no.
I know. He did do it a couple times in the real early beginning of the season, but I'm with you. It's probably not preferred. I'm just seeing what you can do, but you probably go with the Thibault kind of concept.
Yeah, the only other guy that maybe gets a little bit of a burn is Terrence Ferguson. Maybe he got some. Last night, I think, was the first time I ever saw him on the floor.
Yeah, I know. There was one other game where I saw him afterwards during the stat sheets after. I'm like, huh? Ferguson, right? When the hell did he get out
But
there?
even him, he's like more of a small forward, like 6'6", slashing kind of guy. I think you're going to see Scott, and you would see Thibault is going to probably get more minutes. But let's be happy that Harris has only got a bruised knee. There's no structural damage here, so he's not going to miss. But I would imagine that if the Sixers are going to be cautious with him, you might not see him the rest of this first half of the season. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they play Cavaliers on Saturday, and then they play Indy on Monday, and they play the Jazz on Wednesday, and then they have the All-Star break.
Yeah, I would.
They're off, by the way, from Wednesday the 3rd until Thursday the 11th. How many sports talk with Brodes are you going to get in then?
Oh, so I'll make sure it happens. All right, we'll be talking Flyers, baby. Here's something. I'm just looking at the NBA, the Sixers roster.
No Flyers tonight, by the way.
No Flyers tonight. Back to back, Saturday, Sunday, 1 o'clock.
Now, why would they do
3:00.
that? How about a Friday, Sunday?
I think it was supposed to be Friday.
It was.
Something moved.
Originally, the game was supposed to be against Buffalo on the 26th. And whatever reason, they moved it, and now they play back-to-back Saturday, Sunday.
All right, well, here's a name that I'm thinking, looking at the roster, that's tearing up the G League. What about a little Paul Reed steps in and plays some 4?
I don't think he's a stretch guy, though.
No,
I don't think he's a shooter.
No, he's definitely not.
I got
that
a name
level
for you.
What's that?
Just got released. What about Glenn Robinson the third?
He doesn't know his role here. There's no way he can come back.
New coach now.
The guy doesn't know his role. I don't want any of that nonsense.
New coach. New coach solves all the problems.
Well, there's a reason why. It's sort of like I was asking about Oladipo, and we were going back and forth, but like, why has he been on so many teams? With Glenn Robinson, I understand he's like a role player and all, but like, he's like constantly bouncing around this and that. Like, he can't find his zone anywhere he goes. Not that, that would skate. We know his role, but, like, it's kind of like you can't stick somewhere. Something tells me something about that where you're just constantly getting released and moving around and this and that.
Well, for whatever, like Sacramento, I think released him so that they could get more playing time for a younger guy. I mean, there's another problem is you got Glenn Robinson III, who has essentially kind of become a, journeyman at this point.
He was shooting the lights out in Golden State when we picked him up, so we were all excited for it last year. Then he came here and he couldn't make a damn shot.
Well, I was going to say, a guy that they're kind of, Alec Burks is having a nice season. I liked Alec Burks. Glenn Robinson III, I don't know. I mean, could he come in? He got released, so I'm trying to find what he was shooting on the year. I know he was averaging about 5 points a game or something like that, but would he be able to come in and, I don't know, play some of those power forward minutes? I mean, that's essentially what he is. He's kind of like a
I guess it's possible. If they're only thinking about the next handful of games and Tobias is back after the break, Are you going to go all the way out for like a Glenn Robinson to help you out right now, or are you just going to try and get by until Toby comes back?
So Glenn Robinson, by the way, is 27-year-old. Now he's more of a small. He's like, I thought he was like 6'8". That could be like a Tobias Harris, but he probably, and he's shooting from 3-point range this year, 36%. So he's been about league average. He's 36%. Last year when he was in Philly, he shot 33% from three, so he's been better this year. He's only playing 60. I don't know. Just, could you stopgap with a veteran player in the meantime?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it doesn't hurt for sure to pick up somebody like this. Is that their move? Like if you said Tobias, let's go this way. If Tobias Harris was healthy, and we've been hearing
that can't be your move.
That's right. That's what I was going to bring up. If you're looking at a healthy Tobias and you need a stretch four, if you bring in Glenn Robinson III, that's not moving the needle. So I think you got to find that fix for even when Toby comes back, not so much just a stopgap guy.
No doubt. You definitely. Well, if Mike Scott hit a 3 last night, he feels like he's been getting more in the flow. I mean, he's been banged up a lot, Scott.
That's what I think the problem is, more so than the actual. I mean, it's affecting the execution for sure for him.
Yeah, so maybe he comes back and he can give you those 12 minutes. I mean, really, isn't that what they're looking for? A guy who can come off the bench, spell Tobias for about 12 to 15 minutes.
And that's with Ben maybe even moving to the 4 at some point. Maybe it's even less. Maybe it's 6-7 minutes if Ben plays the 4 at all.
Yeah, so like if Mike Scott comes in over the next 3 games and averages like 8 points, hits a triple, 1.5 threes per game, maybe they say, all right, he's the guy that can fulfill those 12 to 15 minutes for us behind Tobias Harris.
Let's be realistic. How much different is Mike Scott and Glenn Robinson III going to be? You know what I mean? Like they're kind of in that same category of production anyway.
Yeah. Now, yesterday we talked to Keith Smith, and I encourage you to go listen to that interview over at 97.3 ESPN on YouTube. And he talked about some of the buyout market guys. None of the names that he said really pushed my pile all that much, but that might be an avenue. That's where a couple of years ago, where the Sixers went and got Bellinelli, Ilyasova. They went down that route.
All right, well, how about this? Because I was asked this earlier today. Would you rather have George Hill and PJ Tucker? So you're getting your veteran point guard and you're getting your stretch 4. George Hill and PJ Tucker, or Kyle Lowry, give up Danny Green, Shake Milton, all those players, and maybe a pick. So would you rather just go, hey, let's upgrade with 2 veterans in 2 positions we need, or go out and get Kyle Lowry? What would make you feel more comfortable?
Right, give them to me again.
George Hill.
And
PJ Tucker.
Or like them both.
Or Kyle Lowry and giving up Danny Green, Shake Milton, the package.
And George Hill and Tucker are what? Buyout market?
Yeah, the package is significantly less. I don't know exactly what it might cost you to do that, but clearly the packages are going to be different. So you'd still have Danny Green. You'd still have Shake Milton. You'd still have all those players. You're adding George. I mean, of course, you'd have to, chop off some of the end guys, but the point is, which route would you rather go? Give up a lot for Kyle Lowry, or just add 2 nice veteran pieces in positions that you need?
I would take George Hill and Tucker, I think.
I think I like both options, to be honest with you. I really do. And I think you benefit with both of these options, but I could see both sides. I could see the positive to only going after the veterans, not giving up too much. But if you get Kyle Lowry and then Kyle Lowry agrees to stay, that's where my ears start perking up a bit more. Because if he can stay, that really adds to what next year is.
So I just looked up an article, all right, that has 5 buyout market candidates, all right? So I will read those guys off to you on the other side here on the Sports Bash, live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com. We are just getting started. It's a happy hour Friday. Joe Show says, where the hell is everybody? I'm talking to myself. Well, Joe, it's happy hour Friday. Everybody's out having a couple cocktails to start this show off. But join Joe in the chat. We'll put you up on the screen. We'll converse with you guys out there. Lee James, if you guys are listening, Lee says, good luck in your new endeavors, Brodes. Though I do disagree with your poop on the lawn view.
That's right. I forgot all about that dilemma we had. Maybe we can resurface it throughout the show, give you a little update.
Oh, is there an update? Have you encountered that gentleman?
No. The update is we just let the dog go in the backyard now.
So it sounds like you thought I was right about that, too.
No. It's more because of me, and I don't feel like walking around the block. It's real about my energy, not so much my neighbor that doesn't want my dog to poop on the lawn.
All right, so if you guys want to post a good luck, a goodbye, this is Brodes Final show. We got a fun show. Hudrick, Caplan, Pete Thompson, Todd Rank is going to join us. He's having his interview today about the game show.
That's amazing.
So his interview with the game show is at 4:30. So he's going to join us at 5:30 tonight to talk about what questions and the whole process of getting on the game show.
I love it. I can't wait.
And he will be live on the video stream. So Todd will be with us in the stream.
I want to see him come in with the crazy hands like he did on The Price is Right.
Sports Bash brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan. The all-new Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Online at mattblattnissan.com. When we come back, I got 5 or more buyout market candidates. I want to see if you guys like them. And that's coming up next here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Bigger, better Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda.
Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accords, Civics, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Bigger, better Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Hey, sports bettors, it's Mike Gill, and I wanted to share with you how I've been cashing in on the PropSwap Sports Bets resale app. On average, sellers on PropSwap have been making $500 a month. It's easy. Just post all your betting tickets for sale on PropSwap and let them find you a buyer. Listing your ticket is always free, and if it sells, great. But if not, the bet is still yours to keep. If you're not selling sports bets on PropSwap, you're missing out on incredible side hustle. Start making extra money today by downloading the PropSwap app and selling your sports bets.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure thing. We can help you replace those wipers. If yours are squeaking or streaking, it's probably time. We've got a wide selection of wipers that can stand up to any weather, including the right ones for your make and model. We've even got more ways to get them fast, like our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone. AutoZone. Dorothy Roofing. Call 1-877-97-KEVIN.
Hi, I'm Kevin Daly, the owner of Dorothy Gale Roofing. Do you have a leak? Do you need a new roof? Give us a call today for honest, wholehearted advice at 1-877-97-KEVIN.
Wizard quality comes with DorothyRoofing.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
This season's hottest collection is dropping just in time for lunch. Meat Church's new all-white meat Texas tenders, accessorized with butterfly shrimp. Snag your Texas tenders and shrimp meal for just $5. Church's bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, Happy Hour Friday. We are live. It's brought to you by Matt Blatt Kia. They want to get you approved today. Matt Blatt Kia is on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township. My final show for Brodes. He is basically starting his own endeavor, which he's kind of done for a while. It's just that he's going to focus more on that. You know, he used to do the Sports Talk with Brodes, which was basically a nightly reaction show. He has now expanded that to doing Coffee with Brodes, which will now expand to doing something else at some point down the road.
Yeah, we're going to do some like pregame live Phillies games and all that kind of good stuff.
You're doing pregame.
Pregame, might do some pregame stuff, feed you right into that 7:05 first pitch between Aaron Nola, maybe Matt Moore versus DeGrom. Who's going to win? I don't know. Let's dive into it. Kind of thing.
So there you go. For the people who are wondering what happened to Brodes, Brodes has Brodes Media, which he will now be expanding and basically focusing that full time. So we wish him well there. So today is his last shows. Joe's show, we've explained it to you many times. He keeps saying, Brodes is about to leave the show, but can you explain why you're leaving? I said it before.
Now, someone else came in here.
He needs more time to do the shows.
Yeah, someone else came in and said, Brodes isn't allowed to insult anyone on the show. Now, look, I've been here for how many times? Right underneath that, the Joe Show comment, there was one more. There it is. Now, I've been on here. How? What do you mean I've insulted and definitely questioned players since I've been on this radio station.
Yeah,
Korkmaz, Andrew Knapp. Managers.
Simmons, you were completely irrational about.
No, he was. Hey, to be fair, I said I would trade him for two people. Those two people are respectable people.
That's different.
Here. Right. That's
no. You changed to two people. It was before that there were more.
No. The farthest I went was Levine, but it had to have been Levine and company, not just Levine. So I did put Levine in that mix, but it was with Levine plus. But I've been attacking people since day one here.
Rick says you're fairly easy on guys, except Korkmaz.
Yes, that is something that I am. Look, the guy needs to pick it up a little bit. We'll keep it there.
He's just not a great defensive player.
Yeah, I would say lacks in that area.
All right, buyout candidates. You ready?
Hit me.
Blake Griffin.
No, out. I don't want anything to do with Blake Griffin. Even if he's bought out, I don't want anything to do with it.
Trevor Ariza.
I'd have to do a little bit more research on his current play, but I would imagine it's not anything close to what I would say yes to.
He's in the final year of a 2-year, $25 million contract. He hasn't played in 11 months, so there is no current play.
Okay.
He's basically sitting it out on the side. I think he is with, I want to say Oklahoma City, right? Oklahoma City, yeah.
My answer is no. I think
he has been out for a while.
Yeah, too far gone.
George Hill.
Yes, absolutely. He's probably high on my list.
Outside of my best.
Yeah, outside of Lowry, he's probably number 2.
Otto Porter Jr.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, he is. Man, he got a huge contract.
Yeah.
How does somebody have that job and say, I'm going to give Otto Porter Jr. this money? How do you have that job?
I don't know.
How do you get to that point in your life where I can be so bad at my job but still get that job?
What was it? $28.4 million deal? Or that was just for this final year? That was just for this.
Yeah, he's in the final
season.
year of a 4-year, $106 million contract he signed back in 2017.
Talk about robbery. Him and Blake Griffin.
he would be a guy that could be your stretch four in a small ball lineup. I mean, he's 6'8". He's, a guy that's he could shoot the three. I mean, I think he's 40% from three in his career.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is. I guess he's on the list, but not anywhere near the top. I don't think that's one that moves my needle into the contract. It's just the production, the numbers you spit off is fine, but the contract I don't think puts it in play.
The difference is, though, it would be in the buyout market.
Oh, it would be.
You wouldn't have to pay him.
That's correct.
These are buyout market guys.
You're right. So maybe on the list. I'll put him in the maybe list.
I mean, if he was a buyout and he was on the street, I think now the problem with Porter is he's constantly been hurt.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be if I could get him in the buyout market, I might be interested in that.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's on the list. I just don't think he's high on the list.
All right, Tony Snell.
No.
Having a good year.
Yeah.
48% from three. 3-and-D guy.
3-and-D guy.
He's like your poster child.
Yeah, he
was like the original 3-and-D guy.
When I say no, I just mean in terms of not being high on my obviously at this point a buyout market guy is going to help, but in terms of does it move the needle for me? I see George Hill. Yes, that moves the needle for me. I think the veteran leadership of carrying a second unit brings a lot to the table. And he was great last year with the Bucks down the stretch, too. He was outplaying Eric Bledsoe out there with that point guard position at times. So I'm looking for that true veteran, calm down second unit guy. That's why I lean George Hill. So when I say no, it's not necessarily I don't think that they would help. Just not high on my list.
Garrett Temple?
Nah.
Shoot the three.
Yeah. No, I mean, these guys can shoot the three for sure.
Wayne Ellington.
I feel like you hear that name every year. Isn't that
he stinks?
Yeah, he's the exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's like
although
the guy who's always there.
He's hitting about 50% of his threes so far. Ariza's an interesting guy because now when I say the original 3-and-D, Trevor Ariza is him and Tayshaun Prince were the original 3-and-D guys. He just hasn't played for so long, but Ariza, I'll tell you what he is intriguing about is, can you imagine a lineup on the floor of Thibault, Ariza, and Ben Simmons? You put those three guys up against Durant, Harden, and Kyrie. Well, you would have a game of the three best scorers in the league against the three best on the ball defenders that you could find. If you were looking for the best on the ball defender at that, Trevor Ariza would be. He's one of the best on the ball defenders you could find.
Can he do that at 35 is my question.
That's a question. He hasn't played in 11 months.
Yeah.
That would be, but
logged in 1,064
now,
games.
Josh, did Ariza play? Didn't he play for the Rockets at one point?
Yeah, he did.
With Morey? So Morey would know him.
It's a good point. Yeah, it looks like here. I knew he played for Houston 2014 through 2019. So, yeah.
So he's been there as of 2019. So Morey knows him. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Ariza would be a guy that he would call. So I'm going to write this down. Now, when you're doing coffee with Brodes one morning, you're taking that sip of coffee, you would say, man, that Mike Gill nailed it. He got that Trevor Ariza.
I can't do that. I can't give you any credit ever. That's not how this works.
Otto Porter, we mentioned him. Then you got your guys like J.J. Redick.
He's shooting 29% from three right now.
I think a lot of that is because he doesn't get the minutes. He's not in the rotation.
Well, he wouldn't be here, would he? Would you just throw him into 40 minutes?
That's why I said that I'm not all that intrigued by him.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm sorry. Did I say 29? I meant 35. Where did I see that was 29? Someone else was talking.
Well, I think about a month ago he was in the 20s.
Yeah, for sure. There was a time of some really poor play out of him, so maybe he's picked it up as of late. But yeah, the role wouldn't be here for him. You just don't have the role for him on this team. So if the problem is minutes, he's not going to get the minutes. He's not going to get the minutes.
Not here.
No.
I mean, well, it would be him and Curry, I guess, would be. You'd be splitting time between Redick and Curry. They would be they're both like the off guard.
But I just feel at that point, I don't know. Would you rather go in another direction and pick up that 4 position? Or are you doing both? Is JJ and somebody else what you're going to do? And if you get Kyle Lowry, what can you do if you get Kyle Lowry? Can you still make moves in this buyout market to even help out more? Can you get Lowry and Ariza?
Well, I mean, yeah, you could bring that in and then once you bring Lowry in, yeah, you could still bring a buyout market. The buyout market guys, you're essentially paying them league minimum. right? When they come in, you're not working out like a 3-year, $30 million. You're just saying, hey, you want to come play here? You got your buyout. You got your lump sum of money. You got the money from, hey, Oklahoma City paid you the rest of your contract so that you can now go. Get out of here. But the repercussion of that is you're not going to get paid a lot by your new employer.
Right. That's what it would be. You'd have to be willing to sacrifice that pay rate. But you would imagine with some of these players, as you alluded to, they get paid, they get their money, and it's like, all right, look, I still got mine. Now, if I want to continue to compete, like what's the alternative for a guy like Ariza anyway? You know what I mean? The alternative is you're sitting around waiting and kind of doing nothing. So you get an opportunity to play basketball again and on a championship team where you can go win a title. It's a no-brainer.
And Trevor Ariza apparently has had some workouts down in Miami. So he's been, a guy. I think Ariza's name has come up a lot because he's a veteran player who just hasn't done anything. And Oklahoma City didn't really want to use him. So he was like Andre Iguodala. Remember, Iguodala got traded to Memphis and never played at all. And then he got bought out in the buyout market and he signed with the Heat.
Yeah, Iggy is a hate the face for me, but everything out of I wasn't a hater during Philadelphia times. It was once he went out to the Warriors and this OKC Memphis thing or whatever it ended up becoming, or it was Memphis and he sat out. And where did he go after that? Miami. He's a hate the face for me. I can't stand him. And it has nothing to do with what he did here. It's everything after the career here and when he moved on.
Rick Scott's watching on YouTube. He says there's been some talk about Lonzo Ball. What do you guys think about that?
Well, it goes back to me where I want a veteran point guard with some serious deep run type of experience. Like I want a journeyman who's been around the block that has been able to play in postseason runs and has logged in a ton of minutes. Like I want that in this role. Lonzo Ball's been in the league for 4 years now. Now his numbers aren't bad, but I'm looking for a George Hill type guy. That's what I want. I want veteran, calm down the second unit kind of guy. Lonzo's like a younger dude.
Ariza.
Right, yeah, Ariza's that kind of guy.
No, Ariza would be a very good backup to Tobias as the stretch 4. Probably more of a 3, but
yeah,
the stretch 4. Ariza can knock down a shot. I mean, he's not a great offensive player. Let me see.
Well, I think Keith Smith said it best when we had him on yesterday. You know, a lot of these guys, they're going to help out teams. But this isn't the difference in going and making that big run. You know what I mean? Like, these are nice players that are going to help out, but you don't look at them as, hey, you're going to go make this championship run now because you picked up Trevor Ariza.
Now, last year in Portland, Ariza hit 40% from 3. The year before that, he was 37% with Sacramento. Actually, no, last year with Sacramento and Portland, he was 37%. He is a career 35% guy. Now, in Houston with the Rockets, he had a couple of pretty big years with the Rockets where he was a pretty good player down there. I mean, 37% from 3, had some pretty good scoring years with that team. Now, in Houston, he averaged 13, 12, 11, 11. So he's in that range. I kind of like Ariza a little bit.
So what if you got George Hill and Ariza?
And by the way, I don't mean to. The reason I like Ariza is because of the defense and that angle and having him, Thibault, Ben Simmons playing together in certain stretches of the game when you want to lock down the nets.
Well, let me ask you this.
That.
Well, let's say
35 years old, though.
Let's say your starters are what they are right now for the playoffs. Yep. So you got Ben, Danny Green, Seth Curry, Tobias, and Embiid. Mm-hmm. The bench is probably going to be Shake, Matisse, Dwight. Are you even going to see Ariza?
Yeah.
You think so?
For 12 to 15 minutes.
I don't. You're going to go 9 deep in the playoffs? That's a lot of guys. It's a lot of guys.
Well, no, but keep in mind, like, you might go 9, but you might split the minutes up. Like, maybe Dwight Howard only plays 8 minutes instead of 16.
Right.
And 8 minutes go to him and 8 minutes go to Ariza.
But I think you're going to see, when Ben isn't playing the 1, he's going to either be playing the 4 or the 5 based off the matchup. So I think Ben is going to get some of those minutes as well, whether it's at the 4 or the 5. So I don't know if they go much deeper than 8.
You don't like the idea of they might go 8, but maybe in a series against the net, those 8 guys are different.
That's true. Now that could be, that's fine. I can get behind that one more than thinking they're going to go 9.
Right? Like, if there's a game and you're like early, let's say you're starting the 4th quarter and the game is kind of, 2-3 point game back and forth. And I open up the 4th quarter and I've got Simmons on Durant. I've got Simmons on Harden,
I don't.
Ariza on Durant, and Thibault on Kyrie.
I don't think that's what it would be. It would be Ben on KD. It would be Danny Green on James Harden, only because they tried that earlier in the season, and it worked to a minor degree. And then you'd have Seth Curry on Kyrie. I think that's what it would realistically be.
Now, our man Jeff Nadeau, big man on betting, is watching the show, and he just got in on the chat. He says, bye-bye Curry, Green, Bradley in a first. I don't know that gets the deal done. I think we talked to Hudrick the other day, and he said there is no scenario, right, Josh? There's no scenario where you can make a trade for Kyle Lowry in which Green, Scott, and two other guys had to be involved in that deal. And you have to get to those guys before you can start adding others. Like, it was essentially going to have to be a 5-player deal.
Yeah. And
contractually to make the money work.
Right. And call me crazy here. I don't want to give up Seth, and here's why. He's still on the books for 2 more years at $8 million. Like, pretty reasonable for a guy that can shoot the rock. Now, he has had some injury history, this ankle problem and all, so hopefully he can stay upright. But to have him for next season, to have him for the season after that, at $8.5 million a year for that type of shooter, like, I want that here. That's big for this team, I think.
Yeah, Hudrick's going to join us at 3:20 today, but I don't know if we can find maybe that bite from him the other day. He broke it down. He said, you cannot make – he said, I've been on the trade machine over and over and over and over again. There is no trade that you can make to get Lowry that doesn't include at least these 4 guys. These 4 guys have to be involved in the deal just to get the money there. Now, maybe he never even thought about including Curry as part of that.
Right.
But even if, like, Curry doesn't make all that much money.
No, 8.4 or whatever. But if you end up trading Danny and Seth to get Kyle Lowry, now you're significantly hurting what your team is all about. But is Paul Hudrick to you a trade simulator guy? See, I was a little...
He says he's on the trade simulator more than anybody he knows.
I was stunned to hear that. And it's probably because he doesn't tweet them. And he made it very clear he doesn't tweet them.
He's sitting there with a nice IPA, pumping that IPA back, trade simulating left and right. No doubt.
That's
playing the guitar.
Yeah,
bing, bing, ba-ding, ding, ding.
He's doing all that? Maybe he's got a Batman movie on the TV?
He hits the trade in, and then when he hits, like, tell me if this trade works, he'll start playing the song.
All right.
Kind of like this. Like this song.
I can vibe to this.
There's no place like your home. And if you have a leak or need a new roof, call Dorothy Gale Roofing, 877-97-KEVIN, or visit them online at DorothyGale.com. It's the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And don't forget, you can watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com. We appreciate all the people watching the show. We have some news on if you can go to a game in Philly coming up. How many people are going to be able to go to a Flyers game? It looks like, Brodes, the Flyers are going to be the first team that has fans back in. Is that what you're seeing?
Seems it's possible.
And when might that be?
Well, they said maybe as soon as Monday, but there's some issues because they're claiming 500 people. But you also need 500 staff members to have people. So it looks like there's a little bit of some wording issues. And, they gotta properly figure this out here, the city of Philadelphia.
By the way, Rick chimes in. He says, Doc wants to be near his family. They're not going to trade Curry. Keep that in mind. Curry and Doc have ties. He's
true.
Married to Doc's daughter.
Yeah, he is.
All right, we're back with more Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Euro steps by him and scores it up and good. What a move. Are you kidding me?
The Sixers host the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tomorrow, coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
On some models excludes Corvette. With GMF financing. Excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever. Saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Was 2020 full of dings, dents, and scratches? Using your tax refund at Mako can help. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako to undo a little bit of last year. Head to Mako.com to get a free online estimate today. Better get Mako.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-285-5280. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-285-5280 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-285-5280 to see if you qualify. That's 800-285-5280.
The average 30-second radio ad has about 75 words of salesy messaging. Nobody's got time for that many salesy words. Let's do ourselves a favor and see if we can keep it under 10. Okay, count it out. Acura, President's Day, event. Going on now. Attractive offers. One word to spare. Look at that. Acura. Less talk, more drive.
For attractive offers on the entire Acura lineup, visit your Delaware Valley Acura dealer today.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, 252 Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com. I'm Mike Gill. That's Hunter Brody. At Brodes81, it's his final show today. People are asking who's filling in for Brodes. I don't know. Don't have that answer.
There's nothing wrong with a little solo, Gil.
I have some things working, though. Cool. I'm working on some ideas.
Cool. Can't wait. I'll be chiming in.
So don't think all Monday there's going to be somebody new here. You might just see me. That's it. But I do have a couple ideas I'm working on to try to. It's a big seat to fill.
It is. It is.
All right. So apparently they're going to have about 500 fans. Is that what you're gathering from this whole Flyers?
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of the city of Philadelphia saying this and now that. And so there's a little bit of wonkiness involved. Not that should be from. This is John Clark, 45 minutes ago of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Sixers and Flyers can start having limited fans at games Monday, according to the city of Philadelphia. State currently allows 500 people indoors, 2,500 outdoors.
See, here's the problem, and I think this is where New Jersey and Murphy differ from Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. Murphy's not counting the workers or the athletes. So he's saying you could have 500 people in attendance. That's not counting the players and the staff that work there. Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, which is different because the PA County and Pennsylvania State kind of have not worked hand in hand. They're saying only 500 people. That's including the workers and the players. Well, guess what? What do you have, 2 fans?
Yeah, exactly.
After all that's said and done?
Right. Like, they didn't think about that prior to making this type of statement?
Right. To say, hey, we're going to open up the fans and it's going to be 500 people, including the workers. Well, to open up the Wells Fargo Center, it takes about 500 people, from what I understand.
Well, let me ask you this. So I'm okay with the indoor number being a little low, but in 40,000 maybe Citizens Bank Park holds in that range, you're telling me 2,500 is all you can get in there?
An outdoor stadium at this point, you could almost, like, I would say, even if there was no vaccine out there, I think we're at the point where maybe you could be at almost 50%. Like,
Yeah.
if you'd said, I am spaced out in my section every 2 to 3 seats, and there's nobody in the row, every other row, 2 to 3 seats, I don't have a problem going to that game.
I agree. 2,500 seems a little small.
I've been in high school basketball games. And, I mean, parents are allowed. I went to a game the other night where parents were in, and I think, like, the professionals with seats can seat people strategically enough that they are in a 6-foot box of nobody else and have somebody sit next to them that they go to the game with. Having 500 people there is ridiculous. That's a waste of time. That's how I feel. You'll hear what Hudrick said about that trade. We have that soundbite coming up next.
Hey, South Jersey, it's Billy Schweim. It's an exciting weekend in the locker room. We will review all the hot topics from the week. On Saturday, we'll talk with 6-time Stanley Cup champion and a Hockey Hall of Fame legend, Mark Messier, about his career and what he's doing now. On Sunday, we'll be talking baseball. Sunday's guest is former Phillies relief pitcher, Scott Air. A Sixers recap and a Flyers preview. All the action starts every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda.
Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accords, Civics, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Body Armor Light isn't just a sports drink. It's more than a sports drink. With no artificial sweeteners, no sugar added, and only 20 calories per 16-ounce bottle. Body Armor Light is changing the game when it comes to hydration. Plus potassium-packed electrolytes, coconut water, antioxidants, and vitamins make Body Armor Light the perfect choice for your next workout and your active lifestyle. Body Armor Light, more than a sports drink. Head to drinkbodyarmor.com to learn more.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit ILoveLyleBack.com.
More from the Max Kellerman
It's
Show.
time for some straight
next.
talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Sports is using technology to take the fan experience to the next level. When it comes to hiring, there's one solution that's been advancing its technology for years, ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/max. ZipRecruiter's technology identifies people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. No wonder 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/max. That's ZipRecruiter.com/max.
When you support your local small businesses, it helps keep your neighbors employed, helps kids save for college, and strengthens your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts local businesses in the spotlight.
First Bank of Sea Isle City, Cape May County's community bank.
Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to ilovelylback.com.
Egg Harbor Independent Branch Leader at Charles Schwab in the Consumer Square Shopping Plaza.
Filling Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. Visit fillingmarble.com.
Intuitive Women's Health in Summers Point, accepting new patients. Schedule an appointment today online at intuitivewomenshealth.net.
East Coast Roofing, Siding and Windows services all of South Jersey. If you call, they'll show up. Call East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
A radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey.
Give them this
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, 3 o'clock Sports Bash Hour 2 is here. It's a Friday edition. We call it Happy Hour Friday here on the Sports Bash because we like to have a good time. Now, Josh is saying that my beard has gray. It's had gray in it for like ever.
I just think it's crazy that here you walk back in during the break and he just wants to shred you. Just throw one in your gut. Hey, Gil, your beard's gray.
Yeah, it's always, I've had gray in these little, like this little spot here for, is it this side or I can't tell because the video, but I've had this gray little spot here for a while.
I see nothing different.
Yeah, the gray has been there. Like this little spot of gray has been there. My girlfriend and I said, getting a lot of people get the gray in the beard. I don't understand like why that I don't have gray in my hair really.
I'd rather have it in the
beard.
Yeah, the beard. I mean, over the hair, it's definitely a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't have any in my hair.
You don't want hair.
No, I got no gray hair.
Right.
44, no gray hair, and I still have it.
Damn right.
Yep, we've had this discussion.
Yep. You would not go toupee.
Nope. Not going rug.
Not going rug. It's amazing.
Paul Hudrick is our Sixers insider for 97.3 ESPN.com. We had him on the show on Wednesday. He'll be back today at 3:20 for Inside the Sixers. He talked about the trade machine, what the Sixers would need to include in any deal involving Kyle Lowry.
Specifically with Lowry, I can tell you that I've worked that NBA trade machine to death, and the only way you make the money work is Mike Scott, Danny Green, Tony Bradley, and Terrence Ferguson. That's the only way you make that money work. If you swap any one of those guys out with Thibault, with Milton, with Maxey, the money doesn't work. It's just not enough.
Not enough. Got to have those 4 players in the deal. Let's play it one more time.
Specifically with Lowry, I can tell you that I've worked that NBA trade machine to death, and the only way you make the money work is Mike Scott, Danny Green, Tony Bradley, and Terrence Ferguson. That's the only way you make that money work. If you swap any one of those guys out with Thibault, with Milton, with Maxey, the money doesn't work.
All right,
it's just not enough.
I would have to challenge this. He's saying, I'm imagining he is saying in a way that they don't want to give up Curry.
Well, he said he worked the trade machines to death. I mean, to death means you threw Seth Curry in there. So I'll ask him, did you really work him to death or did you lie to us?
Yeah, that would be the question. Now, Josh, can you do a trade machine that takes out one of those guys and includes Curry?
Right. Well, Mike Scott makes less money than Seth Curry does. So if Mike Scott works, you might be able to.
I'm imagining he's just saying
it
in a way that they wouldn't want to give up both Green and Curry.
Right. And I don't disagree with them. If you lose both of those for Lowry, now you're seriously taking a step back before you get Lowry. Where does that even yourself out? Are you back where you started? Where are you then?
Yeah. So I guess in that scenario that he's just assuming they don't want to give up both of those players in the deal. Because I would imagine the money with Curry would work.
Would you trade both of those?
I would have a hard time.
Yeah, I would too. I don't think it would be worth it if you're getting rid of both.
Shootout 407's watching on YouTube. He says, I don't think they should trade for Lowry's expiring contract. He's older to give up Matisse, Maxey, Green, Curry. You're messing the team up more than you're helping.
Well, what did Keith Pompey say with us yesterday? He might ride this season out kind of thing. Like, hey, is it the must-win season right now? Or do you possibly try and ride this out? That was one of the options he laid on the table. And that's something that I was kind of discussing. When you look at this team, while it's fun, it's entertaining, you're watching Embiid take that monster step, is this really the year to say we're going all in? Or would it be better to do that next season?
No.
Why
you
do you
do both seasons?
You could do both seasons.
Because I don't think, and see if you agree, I don't think that there's a team. The Lakers are probably the favorite, right?
Yeah, they're falling apart right now. 4-game losing skid.
Well, of course, they don't have Anthony Davis. That's a big.
I think Schroeder's hurt,
I
too.
don't think that they're as deep this year as they were last year. I think part of the reason why they were so good is because they had these two stars, but they had very good complementary pieces. Dwight Howard had a role. Rondo had a role. They had Danny Green had a little bit of a role, not towards the playoffs, but they had a very good mix of role players and the two superstars. I don't think they have as clear number one best team. And by the way, I was wrong on them last year. I didn't think they were the best team in the league. I didn't think they'd win the championship. I didn't think they were deep enough. Turns out they were deep enough because guys like Dwight Howard, who was, put it this way, Dwight Howard, I didn't think was going to be this new Dwight Howard.
That's true.
This new Dwight Howard's a totally different Dwight Howard than the knucklehead he was in Houston and every other vagabond city, Atlanta, Charlotte that he went to. He repositioned himself. So guys like that, guys like Rondo, they all kind of conformed for that season. And I don't think they have that right now. So I don't think there is a clear, definitive, this is the best team, and you can't get to that point. I think if you go for it, you can get to that level.
I don't disagree with you. There is no clear-cut favorite. Absolutely, this team is just superior to everybody else. I did see a pretty funny tweet, though, now that Sixers fans are watching Danny Green and Dwight Howard play every night. They're giving LeBron James more appreciation for winning a championship with those two guys being key contributors on that Lakers team. I was thinking about this, though, with LeBron. If he wins again this year, and there might be fans back now, so I guess it kind of changes the question, but do you think when his career is over, let's say he gets 5 rings, right? Let's say he gets 5. Would people look back in 10 years and start nitpicking that there were no fans in the building for some of these championships? So. You don't think so? Even in general with sports, do you think as time moves forward, we look at this 2-year, 3-year window of weirdness and say, well, look, they did it without fans, and that changes so much. The Miami Heat getting to the championship, was that a product of this? Like, I wonder if we'll ever go back to this time when the future comes to us and kind of, downgrade the championships a bit. It should, and it's not fair, but I don't know if we will.
Yeah, I agree. Like, when we look back, are we going to say, the only ones that I like
the Lightning winning the cup last year against Dallas. First off, no one even knew that happened.
No one even cares.
But do you look back and well, they won the cup, but no one, you know what I mean? Like, no one watched. No one even paid attention to that for 1 second.
No, I would say the only one would be the baseball one, but the team that you thought would win it anyway ended up winning it.
If the Marlins won it, we'd be going back a different conversation.
And that's why I said those playoffs were a little fugazi, because the Marlins are not a playoff team. And I think we're going to find that out this year. Like, over 162, they just would not been able to sustain with that roster.
Right.
Over 60 games, they didn't have to be much better than 500. They could be a 500 team for 60 games. You still have another 100 to go and have to play at that level. I don't think they could do it. That being said, the team that won the World Series probably would have won it anyway.
Same with the NBA and same with hockey. So I guess if we look at it from that perspective.
We all think the Heat got to the finals because of the environment. No fans. Were the Heat going to be able to go on the road and knock off some of these teams?
Oh, that's fair, right. So that you're saying basically the Lakers might have had a tougher matchup in the NBA finals.
And look, they could have. Who knows what would have happened if the Lakers played the Clippers and the games were in L.A. as opposed to in Orlando?
I thought you meant in terms of like L.A. or L.A.
No, I'm saying if they played the games in L.A. with fans as opposed to Orlando with no fans.
Right.
Because what did Paul George said? He admitted, like, being in that bubble, maybe depressed and yada, yada.
If the Clippers played the Lakers in games, let's say hypothetically, game 7, it's Lakers-Clippers at the Staples Center, and it's the Clippers home court. Is it 90% Lakers fans?
Depends on how they do the ticket. Like, you're going to have Clippers season ticket holders.
How many of those are there, though? You'd imagine it.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I really don't know.
Todd lives out there. He could probably give us a little better, although he probably doesn't pay attention to stuff like that. But I imagine that they have a similar amount of season tickets distributed.
Maybe. I don't know. The Clippers fans have as many as the Lakers. I guess
each team, when they do, the hell's all over my jacket? Each team does the Sixers' whole building is not season ticket holders. They cut it off at a certain amount so that single game tickets can be sold. So each team probably has hey, we have our 10,000 season ticket holders.
Yeah, I'm curious. Maybe we can do a little research.
All right. So Josh sends me this. Seth Curry makes $7.8 million. You can swap him out with Mike Scott, but not the others because then it's too much money. So then you're giving up Danny Green, Curry, Bradley, and Ferguson. So
no, thank you. I wouldn't do it. If it was Danny and Seth for Kyle Lowry, I don't think I would do that deal.
Right. The problem is Maxey makes 2.4. Thibault makes 2.7. They both make less money than Ferguson and Bradley. So the money won't add up if you wanted to do Curry, Green, and then Maxey, or Curry, Green, and Thibault. That money doesn't match up. So that's why you have to include all those other players just to get to the money. And then you can add in a Thibault.
I'm looking at Tony Bradley's contract here. How did his get? Oh,
he's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
He was a first-round pick.
Yeah, I was going to say, why is his?
And then keep this in mind. The Raptors don't want to have a bunch of other guys on the roster because then their financial situation kind of gets kind of crazy, and you have to start releasing guys because they have a lot of guys on that team that are pretty good. So if you give them Bradley and Ferguson, those are guys that aren't going to play. So the Raptors are a problem because you have to give them 4 players at the minimum, just to start, just to get to the guys that they might be interested in. Like, you can't say, well, the only guys we're interested in are Maxey and Thibault. All right, but then we have to match the money to get you there, and that's where the problem comes in. So Jeff's point is, okay, you can include Green and Curry, but then you still also have to give Ferguson and Bradley, and then you can give Thibault or Maxey.
Not only that, there's other teams that are probably going to have better offers than what you're throwing out there. Because I'm thinking, if I'm the Raptors, right, and I'm trading away Kyle Lowry, and after their expiring contracts, you tell me I'm getting Shake Milton in return, don't you think that there's probably some teams that could put a package together that is not, maybe it's not the same exact thing, but just as intriguing? There's other teams in play, too. We're acting as if, let's just package this together and throw it towards them. Well, there's going to be other teams that want Kyle Lowry. And they could probably get a better return than Shake Milton, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, I would think Milton's the third guy on that list.
Okay.
Of guys that they would be targeting.
But there's probably better options than just Tyrese Maxey. Like, are they in a mode now where they want to take... Like, I think Tyrese Maxey's going to be the better player of all 3 of those young guys, but that might not be until 4, 5, 6 years down the road. Do the Raptors look at a rebuild? Do they look at a retool? Do they think that they can target someone else? I don't know. It depends on what they want to look at. But I just imagine that there's some offers out there that might be just as good, if not better.
This point that Rick brings up, and Rick's watching on YouTube, he says Sixers are a rival. They will probably clearly have to have the best package in order to land Lowry. Like, why do the Raptors want to help the Sixers out in the same conference? I mean, they're in the same division, but divisions in the NBA, does anybody even know that they exist still?
No, I didn't even know that they actually still counted those.
Yeah, the Sixers are in the Atlantic.
Yes, I did know that.
With the Raptors and the Celtics and the Nets and the Wizards. No, the Wizards aren't in the Atlantic anymore.
I can't believe they still even have those divisions.
Yeah,
I think
they don't mean anything,
to be honest with you. But they just go by conferences anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Why would you want to make a trade with an opponent like that you're going to constantly see? I guess it comes down to if they end up as Rick said here, if they get the best package.
Here's a question. And by the way, Washington is not in the Atlantic.
No. Okay.
Can you name? All right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in the Atlantic. Do you know them?
Well, you just kind of spit them off, right? The Sixers, the Celtics, the Nets, Every time I think of the divisions, too, I think of the old Nets logo because that's when it actually mattered a little bit more, like when Jason Kidd was on the Nets, kind of. Who else did you say? So it wasn't Washington. The Knicks?
One more. The Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks.
Then you have the Central and the Southeast.
Yeah, I wouldn't even, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even know.
Now, somehow
the
Washington Wizards are in the Southeast.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird spot to be.
Yeah. Well, I guess of the teams in the Central, Milwaukee, Indiana, Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, they are the most south of those. And then the Southeast is Charlotte, Miami, Atlanta, Orlando, and Washington.
The problem is, if you put Washington in with the Atlantic, who would you move from the Atlantic to go play with?
No, obviously there's nobody. The other option would be, I guess, that doesn't make any sense either. Where is, what division is, Memphis is in the Southwest. So obviously that doesn't make any sense for Washington. Yeah, it's just, they're just a northern Southeast team.
Yeah. Someone has to take
There's no other really way to position it, but nobody cares. But that those are the way the division. But it is weird. Like, do you know who the division leaders are currently?
Absolutely not.
You've got Philly in the Atlantic.
Yeah. Well, Milwaukee probably.
You got Milwaukee in the Central, and you've got at 15 and 16, you've got the Charlotte Hornets leading the Southeast Division. Utah leads the Northwest.
Now, should the NBA do something like the NFL? You win your division, you get yourself in a little playoff spot.
No.
That would be set up for a disaster.
And the Pacific is the Clippers. They are a half game up on the Lakers. And in the Southwest, it's the Spurs that lead the division. There's your little NBA division. Now, did you see this thing? Kyrie Irving wants to change the logo.
I've been seeing the logo talk going around town, yeah. I didn't see one specifically for Kyrie, though.
No, Kyrie says that they should change the logo and it should be Kobe Bryant.
How do you feel about that?
If it's anybody, it would be Jordan. Right? If you're going to change the logo, it would be Jordan.
Why can't it be LeBron? Because he's still playing?
He's still in the league. You're going to have the logo of the guy still playing?
Well, I mean, it's Jerry West right now. Does any of this make sense?
Well, I mean, he hasn't been in the league for 50 years. That makes sense.
But I'm just saying, why's it got to be MJ? That's all. I'm pushing back on why.
If you're saying which player put the NBA on the map that should be the logo, wouldn't it be Michael Jordan?
Unfortunately, yes, but I don't want to admit it because I think Michael Jordan stans are the worst people in the world.
Now, the question would be, what logo of Michael Jordan? Like, they have this logo of Jerry West.
Yeah.
You can't use the one that he uses for Nike.
No, you can't. And that's exactly what came to my mind.
Right? It's copyrighted.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But that being said, there's no reason to get rid of Jerry West. He's the logo.
I agree with you.
And Jerry West isn't going to ask for money for the logo. He doesn't care that he's the logo. They picked that picture. Back 50 years ago, nobody cared about copyrights and all this stuff. They just said, hey, this is a cool image. That's going to be our logo. And that's what they did. Now, you're going to use my picture? You're going to pay me for it. Just be happy that someone thought your picture, you ugly face, was good enough. You know, you have an ugly face. That's what I would say to the person. Whoa, you have gray in your beard. Brought to you by AmeriSave Mortgage. Lower rates means more savings. Find out more at AmeriSave.com. This is the Sports Bash. Inside the Sixers is coming up next. Our Sixers insider, Paul Hudrick, will join us next here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com.
We never stop talking Eagles and NFL. It's football at 4. Every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
On some models excludes Corvette. With GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details. It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever. Saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles. Because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit iloveLyleback.com.
Get a refresh with your refund during Mako's tax season event for expert paint and collision repair. Use our contactless services. It's as easy as book, quote, fix. Better get Mako. Visit Mako.com today to schedule your free estimate. Terms and conditions apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Listen to that 290 horsepower iVTEC V6 engine. That's a double wishbone front suspension. Nah, that's not our supercar. That's the all-new 3-row Acura MDX. It's only natural to confuse the fully redesigned MDX with the NSX because they share more in common than you think. It's a premium 3-row SUV with supercar DNA. Acura. Let's talk more drive.
For attractive offers on the entire Acura lineup, visit your Delaware Valley Acura dealer today.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
Mike and Brodes, it's a Sports Bash Friday, Happy Hour Friday. Pete Thompson tonight will join us, the PT, for his normal Happy Hour Friday spot. And then our old buddy Todd Rank, Game Show Todd. He's going to tell us the whole process of what it takes to get on a game show. He's been on 6 game shows. He just had an interview to be on another game show today. So he's going to tell us all about it. Paul Hudrick is our guest for Inside the Sixers today. And he, like all guests, appears via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. And, of course, the Sixers, after a very impressive performance last night, they are off tonight. They'll be back in action tomorrow against the Cavs. They're going to have one key player out. We'll get more on that coming up from Paul in just a second. But first, we welcome him in to a Sports Bash Friday. What's going on, Paul Hudrick?
I'm just living the dream, Mike. How are you, man?
The dream is great. The dream is fantastic because the Sixers last night had maybe one of their most dominating performances of the year. And I think a lot of people left that game talking about the job that Ben Simmons did on Luka Doncic.
Yeah, he was unreal. And it's not even, as much as we want to give him credit, and he deserves all the credit in the world, you could see it in the first half. He was Luka Doncic was visibly frustrated with the way Ben Simmons defended him. And then you also have to give credit to Joel Embiid because of, what Luka wants to do is he wants to either take that step back three, or he wants to get you in the pick and roll, and then he wants to find guys, and he wants to, get in the paint and kind of put you in a tough spot with the big man at the rim. But when you have a guy like Ben Simmons on him and then a guy like Joel Embiid at the rim, it really severely lessens his options. And then because Ben Simmons is so good at, he's got the length where he can defend that step back three when Luka wants to take it. We saw the two we hit against the Celtics that were ridiculous to win that game. And then also when Ben Simmons is strong enough and big enough that when Luka gets to the paint, he doesn't need help. So all the shooters are then, all the other Sixers defenders can glue to the shooters on the outside and give Luka really no outlet. So I just think that Ben Simmons is just a nightmare matchup for Luka Doncic and what he likes to do. And as great as Ben Simmons is in general, I think especially with Luka, the way he likes to play, I think Ben Simmons is an absolute nightmare matchup for him, and that's exactly how it played out last night.
Yeah, and I know that the frustration on Luka was evident. I mean, he was kind of like, you saw him getting very frustrated there, and you wonder. I was talking about this with Brodes earlier. That model using Ben Simmons and Thibault, and I even said, like, in the buyout market, a guy like Trevor Ariza, like if you put Ariza, Thibault, and Simmons on the floor together, my gosh, you would see such frustration from other teams. And you wonder if, like, the Sixers are realizing that their blueprint is to win this thing, they're going to have to be the defensive-minded team against the teams that are offensive-minded, because that's an offensive-minded team last night that struggled.
Yeah, Dallas is one of the best offensive teams in the entire NBA. So for the Sixers to do that, it does show how good their defense can be when everyone's locked in. Now, they didn't have Porzingis, who's been banged up, most of the year. There's rumors he might actually be on the trade block now. But still a pretty, they have obviously one of the most talented offensive players in the world in Luka Doncic, and then their supporting cast is pretty good. Features a couple former Sixers in there as well, but. And I do think, Mike, that is going to have to be their identity, because when you look at the Nets' firepower, they can't match it. It's flat out. At the way their roster is, as talented as their Sixers roster is, you can't match that Nets' firepower of those three guys. But what you can do is make life really tough on them. They're going to get theirs. They're going to score. But if you can make life hard for them and make it tough for them and make them have to really fight for every shot they get, that's how you have a shot to beat them. So I've been saying it from the beginning. As soon as the Nets made that Harden trade, I am dying to see that matchup with both of those teams at full force, to kind of see the offense and the defense. And it's funny, if you look at the stats, you'll see, the Nets, I think, score like 7 more points a game than the Sixers, but the Sixers allow 6 fewer points. So it really would be that kind of fun dichotomy of matchups and, how it would all play out, offense versus defense. So I do think, to your point, Mike, that's where they're going to really win games, is on the defensive end of the floor. You see it against an elite team like Dallas, and I think that's going to have to be their blueprint going forward, at least with the roster that they currently have.
April 14th is the next time they play.
All righty. I know it's easy to say Ben Simmons is the best defender in the league as Sixers fans, but when you look around the NBA and when you realize it's not only just, he guards 1 through 5, but it's the level that he guards 1 through 5, which is crazy. Is he truly the best defender in the league? And is there anyone that even brings something to the table relatively close to what he does?
I'll say I'm biased only because I watch every Sixers game, so I see him play every single night. And for my money, I think he is right now the best defender in the NBA because of what you alluded to, Brodes, that versatility of him being able to guard 1 through 5. I mean, they play the Raptors. He's literally guarding Fred VanVleet and then Pascal Siakam. 2 completely different types of basketball players, and him and Embiid are switching on Siakam. Like, it's just the versatility that Simmons brings. I don't think it's matched. I think the closest guy is probably Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, that he's a reigning defensive player of the year. But I think that Simmons, personally, I would take Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons is more disruptive. I think he gets his hands on more basketballs than Giannis does, and so that's why I would elevate him. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of really talented defensive players. Anthony Davis is another guy who's really versatile. I mean, he's a big, but, when he gets switched on the guards, it's still, he causes a lot of problems. There are a lot of excellent defensive players in the NBA, but right now I do think that Ben Simmons, when you couple that versatility with that disruptive nature, with his ability to get hands on basketballs and get deflections, get steals, get blocks, and then get out on the other end and run. For my money, I do not think there is a better defensive player in the league right now than Ben Simmons.
All right, Paul, give us an update on what we know about Tobias Harris and then what the Sixers might do in his absence, because that's one area where they have been, we talked about. They need to find a backup stretch for him. They're going to need one the next couple nights at the minimum. So what do you know?
So from what we understand, the good news is no structural damage to the knee. So that's obviously great news. It is a right knee contusion is what it's being labeled as. He's not going to play in against Cleveland. Only a couple games left until the break. So I don't know if it's really worth, for me at least, playing him up until the All-Star break, depending on the severity and all that. I mean, Tobias Harris is a guy, I sent out a tweet earlier, his durability is insane. Since he's gotten here, he's missed 5 games. 3 of them were earlier this year because of the health and safety protocol. So it wasn't even an injury. He didn't even have COVID. He was just in close contact, so they kept him out. And then before that, he missed 1 game last year in the bubble when Brett kept the starters out. And then his first season here, when he got here from LA, he missed game 82. But for him, it would have been game 83 because the Clippers had played an extra game. So you're talking about a guy who just doesn't miss time. It's significant in itself that he's missing 1 game. We'll see how many he'll miss going forward. Clearly, he's going to push to want to play. But at the same time, listen, the Sixers and Doc Rivers has said this many times in reference to Joel Embiid. It's just there is a bigger goal in mind here. And is it worth it to have Tobias Harris in there for 3 games, or would you rather just give him, that time and then the All-Star break to just heal up? Maybe a blessing in disguise, that he didn't make the All-Star team because now, not that he's a smart guy. He wouldn't have pushed it if he was hurt, but he gets a full, all that time off to rest. And, they're going to need him. He's been so good this year. Didn't make the All-Star team, obviously, but is having an all-star caliber season. He's been so big for what they do. So, it's a relief that it's not anything structural, but we'll see how long it keeps him out. And, I'm sure the Sixers are going to be very cautious this close to the All-Star break.
So what do they do in his place? I mean, even if it's just a couple games, does somebody have a chance to win the Sixers front office over here? And we look through the roster. I mean, Mike Scott's really the one guy, but do you play Scott for extended minutes? If he only plays, say, 20 minutes, who else plays? They don't really have another stretch 4 type of player. So how do they kind of piece this together?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They're going to, Ben Simmons is probably going to have to take on, heavy off-ball minutes at certain stretches of the game with the bench unit, maybe playing more with Shake Milton, which I would be intrigued to see that because I do like their chemistry together and their little 2-man game they have sometimes, and those guys in the pick and roll. So that could be a weird kind of blessing in disguise that they kind of get to see that look a little bit more. What's not great is, you're going to have to probably stretch Ben Simmons out a little bit for the next few games, or, at least the next game at minimum. Mike Scott might have to play a few more minutes because he is kind of their true stretch 4. Starting lineup wise, I don't know what they do. Do they go back to Korkmaz? And, because he did play really well in the Toronto game. He got that start. He got really hot in the first quarter, and it really set the tone for that game. Do they go to Shake Milton, to do that? But then again, he played really well with the bench unit last night. So do you want to break that up? Or do you just throw Mike Scott in the starting lineup and give him a chance? The one thing I will say with Mike Scott is he's had a tough year, and it's not that he has played poorly. He just can't stay healthy this year. He has really not gotten a chance to play an extended amount of games and some minutes. So, obviously down year last year, but was very good for them 2 years ago. So maybe you do give Mike Scott a little bit more of a look now that he's healthy, and you see if maybe he can help you out. Or if not, maybe he just looks good for another team, and, the trade deadline's getting closer. So this might be a chance to showcase a guy or two.
Here's my out-of-the-box thought, and I'm basing this off of your tweets. Paul Reed, any possibility my man gets him 4 minutes?
My instinct is to say no. What I think the plan is for Paul Reed is dominate the G League, which he has done. Build that confidence up. Maybe at the end of the year when the G League season's done, over those last few games when you're going to be resting guys and guys are going to be in and out of the lineup, then that's maybe when he gets another NBA look. But to me, I think the goal with him and Rajon Tucker for now is let them play with the Blue Coats, let them play big time minutes and let them play in big time situations so that, if the Sixers need them or want to use them down the stretch, they're in game shape. They have, that confidence boost and they're at a level they're, used to playing high minutes. So if you do need to go to one of those guys, they're ready to go. So I would say, I imagine they would keep Paul Reed in Florida for now in the bubble and just let him keep playing really well. He had another big game today, another 20 and 10 plus game today. Rajon Tucker also had like 25 points, I think, today. So let those guys do their thing with the Blue Coats and let them build that confidence down there.
All right, Paul Hudrick inside the Sixers. At Paul Hudrick is the Twitter handle for Sixers info. And this weekend, of course, they take on the Cavs, and you can hear that here on 97.3 ESPN. We brought up a topic earlier. Somebody was watching the show, and in the comments section, we didn't bring this up. You said the other day you did the trade machine over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And
it was to death.
It was
to death.
You did it to death. But I guess you didn't assume that they would include both Green and Curry in a deal, correct?
No, because why would you do that? But anyway.
Well, somebody suggested trade Green and Curry and like a Bradley. And I mean, but that's something you're saying they wouldn't package those two together.
I can't. You would just hurt I think to that point, you would hurt your depth so much you would be literally trading two starters. And I get it for Kyle Lowry, but that to me, that's too much. You can't give up two starting caliber players to get one as good as Kyle Lowry is. And then that would mean you'd still have to up. I just think there would be too many pieces you would still have to upgrade. Because even if they get Kyle Lowry, you still need to improve the bench. You can't just get Kyle Lowry and then be done. You still need to make other moves. So no, I personally would not include Curry. Now I've seen some people have said
right there, by the way, on the screen, Curry, Green, Bradley, and a first.
Well, the problem I have here is not your answer. I respect your answer. It's the fact that you told us that you worked this trade machine to death.
Oh, I hear you.
You now left out a man that you didn't even try. I mean, you just flat out didn't even give him the time of day. That's not to death.
Because I'm not trading Seth Curry and Danny Green. That's just the way I feel. I mean, I didn't consider it because why would you trade Seth Curry when he's A, playing very well, B, he's played really well with Joel Embiid. There was just actually an article that came out that showed that when they are on the court together, the Sixers are one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. So I'm really not sure why you would have to do that. I mean, there are other ways to make a trade for Kyle Lowry, which do not include Seth Curry. And to me, if I'm the Raptors, with all due respect to Seth Curry, I'd probably rather, if I'm going younger, I'd probably either rather have a young player or I'd rather have draft picks. I mean, that's just the way I would look at it. But I guess I apologize for not including Seth Curry, but I think I did it for good reason.
Well, we did say that. I said I would imagine that you didn't add him because you would think that there's no possible way that they would include both of those guys to get Lowry in return. Now, Brodes asked an interesting question. If you could do a Lowry type of player and get one, or add a couple buyout guys like your PJ Tuckers and your George Hills, would you rather do the buyout guys too, or the better player via trade?
Well, if it gets to a point where you can like a George Hill or a PJ Tucker, although I think George Hill, I could be mistaken, but I think he's got another year on his deal, so I don't know if he'd be a buyout guy. But if you could get two, like a player or two that's a viable bench option in the buyout market, then go after Kyle Lowry, and then you still have the buyout market. There's nothing stopping them from doing both. And that's my personal feeling is this. I don't think it's just Kyle Lowry. If you make a Kyle Lowry trade, you still have other things. You still have your trade exception. You still have the taxpayer mid-level exception to get buyout guys. Now, the pieces that you use to get Lowry, could you maybe use those to get a different piece or pieces? Maybe I think, Mike, you talked about it, a package deal of Victor Oladipo and PJ Tucker. Could you do something like, sure, maybe there's a more creative way to do that. But I just think, I don't think it's an either or situation. I think you can get Kyle Lowry and still have resources to upgrade the bench and get solid players to build this, to really build your depth up and make this a really good playoff team.
George Hill, by the way, has a $10 million non-guaranteed year left on
There you go.
Okay. So I guess my question to you is, after, maybe making that move for Lowry and going after and also attacking someone in the buyout market, is this the year to go all in on that Kyle Lowry move? Do you look at this team and look at the East in general and say, well, look, while the Nets are playing hotter, the Sixers are in the conversation, or like is next year the year to go all in? I guess I'm just trying to balance, is this the all in year? Or Gil brings up, why not both? Why can't it be both years?
Yeah, and I think Daryl Morey is a smart enough guy that he's not. He can go all in, but still be a good basketball team next year. You know what I mean? Like I think there is an approach that you can take where you are all in, that you're trying to win a championship this year, but that you're not leaving the cupboard empty for next year. Again, let's say you pull a trigger on a Lowry deal. The report is he still wants to play beyond this year. He'll be a free agent. You can re-sign him. So, I mean, if you re-sign him for the next couple, if you get him and you go on a nice run, I would think him coming home to Philadelphia and then going on a big playoff run, he'd probably be more inclined to want to re-sign. So there's nothing stopping you from pulling a trigger on that trade and then bringing Lowry back and running it back. Then you'll, maybe still have a resource or two where you could bring in a bench guy, or let's say, for instance, Kyle Lowry doesn't come back. You make that trade, that cap space is going to be there next year for Daryl Morey to use at his disposal. So I would be really intrigued to see what he would do. What kind of players would he bring in? We've already seen what he was able to do with the Al Horford contract and how he was able to turn Josh Richardson into Seth Curry. So what would he do with that cap space next year? So I think there is room to make a big move like a Kyle Lowry and go all in this year, but still have flexibility going into next season where you can load it back up and make another run next year. I don't think it's limited. Listen, and the other thing is too, I mean, the above all everything is Joel Embiid is 26 years old. Ben Simmons is 24 years old. As long as they are here, the Sixers are going to be a good team because you just need to add the right pieces around them. So I think as long as those guys are here under contract, you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, and think about, I was talking about this the other day, Paul, see what think about 2 years ago where Joel Embiid was as a player at 24 years old. Now look at him at 26. And now think about where Ben Simmons might be 2 years from now. You will have tons of opportunities, you should, with these two guys. You should have another 5 to 8 legitimate chances with these two guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ben Simmons is locked up. I would assume that Joel Embiid, they're going to lock him up. He's already got a couple years left, but I would assume they're going to lock him up again. And, he's said many, many times that he would like to finish his career here. And I think as long as they keep doing things right by him, he'll want to stay. As long as they keep, building the roster in the way he likes it. Doc Rivers has obviously done a nice job. The team has responded to him. They like him. So as long as you kind of keep that cohesiveness together, I see no reason why either guy would want to leave. And I don't see any reason why, to your point, Mike, why can't Ben Simmons keep improving? We're already seeing what's going on this year. And he said it, like, I'm figuring it out. Plus, I am not ruling out, maybe it doesn't happen this year, but I'm not ruling out the idea that he becomes at least a competent shooter. Because he works on it. The guy works every single day. You're already seeing with the free throws how they're improving. The guy works every day. I think the only reason he doesn't do it in games as much is what we talked about all the time, is the fact that he's looking for that high percentage play. And right now, his jump shot is not a high percentage play. So he'd rather see Seth Curry or Danny Green or Tobias Harris or even Joel Embiid shoot the three because he knows they can all do it better. So he would rather work to get those guys the open looks. Now, maybe in a year or two, maybe the best shot, like we're seeing this year with him realizing that, hey, me scoring is a pretty good option on a high percentage play. Maybe in a couple of years, he'll see that mid-range jumper or the three-pointer as the high percentage play. So there's just like no ceiling right now on him. I think he's already so good, and he's still 24 years old, and he's still getting better. So with that in mind, this team is going to be good for a while here. As long as, again, you have those two guys in place, this team is going to be competitive for a very long time.
Last one for Paul, as the commenter on the screen says, they have an $8.2 million trade exception. Could they use that? Can you kind of explain what that means and how they can utilize that?
Yeah, so I mean, the 8.2, it basically means you can't, so you can only get like one player for it. So you can't get multiple players for that. And it has to be, the salary has to be that 8.2 number or lower. You can do, so let's for an example, a PJ Tucker would fall into that category. I think he makes like right around $8 million. So you could use the trade exception on PJ Tucker. Maybe you throw Houston a couple second-round picks. You can't include a player with that for the Sixers. So that means they can't say use the trade exception and Furkan Korkmaz or whatever and get something. Like it could be, but you can use draft picks. So let's say, you say, hey, Houston, we'll give you, we have this $8.2 million trade exception. We want PJ Tucker. We'll give you 2 second-round picks. You could do something like that. Right. So then that would probably be the best use of it. A guy like Tucker, or, there's tons of other players that are out there that would fall under that 8 million or less category that they could use and get a very useful bench piece to really elevate and upgrade the bench.
It's like when Howie Roseman uses the dummy year in the contract. It's essentially like a piece of paper that says, now you have the trade exception and you can get somebody with, like, they just start passing it around the league.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's the way it works. And they got it obviously from the Al Horford deal because of the salary matching. So another, as much as it was good for the Sixers and Daryl Morey to just get out from under the Al Horford contract, you got a useful starter in Danny Green that you might be able to use in a trade. Plus, you get that trade exception that you might be able to use to upgrade your bench. So that trade kind of just is kind of the gift that keeps on giving at the moment.
He's the gift that keeps on giving for Inside the Sixers. Paul Hudrick. And, of course, the Sixers take on the Cavs. The Cavs beat them a little while ago, so don't fall asleep on this Cavs team. And you can hear the game on 97.3 ESPN. Paul, have a great rest of your weekend, man.
You too, guys. And Brodes, keep up the good work, bud. I'll talk to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's very nice.
Isn't it?
Forgot that you were leaving. We're having such a good groove today.
You're right. We are having. We always have a good. Is there ever a day where we don't have a good groove?
Maybe when we argue about Andrew Knapp.
Yeah, but that's still good stuff. It's highly entertaining.
Sports Bash is brought to you by Copiers Plus, providing quality products and services to South Jersey businesses since 1986. Services their specialty online at copiersplus.com. It's Brodes' final show, but when we come back, here's a question for you guys out there. Now, Brodes asked me this. He had a question during his Coffee with Brodes show today. Now, I've ranked them, all right? If you could have 6 titles, what was it?
Yeah, so if you can have 6 championships in this city, how would you distribute
over
them?
how long span?
It wasn't. I think the way it was laid out was something around like a 10-year window. So in 10 years, you get 6 titles. How would you spread that out?
Am I spreading them out?
Yeah.
All right. I will answer that. You have your list.
Yes,
you guys out there, if you could get 6 titles in a 10-year window, how would you distribute them? All 6 to the Eagles? 4 to one team, 2 to another, none to the other 2. If you could get 6 titles in a 10-year window, how would you distribute them? I got mine right here. We'll answer that question. Coming up next,
it's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Euro steps by him and scores it up and good. What a move. Are you kidding me?
The Sixers host the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tomorrow, coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
It's a new year and an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. 2020 Nissan Kicks. $4,000 off MSRP on in-stock units, or get 0% APR financing for 60 months on new in-stock Nissan Kicks, Sentra, or Altima models. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan has fast-track checkout available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. We want to help with your credit approval today so you can drive a new Nissan with 0% APR financing. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or online at mattblattnissan.com. Unapproved credit. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. All factory rebates and incentives to dealer. 0% APR financing based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Offers can't be combined. Call 888-731-5030 for all the details. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
So you think you have unlimited data?
Recalculating.
Think again. If you have unlimited data on a network you can't trust, your data is limited, and so are you. Set your smartphone free with the unlimited plans from Total Wireless. Get 4 lines with unlimited data on the nation's best network now with 5G, with 100 gigabytes at high speed, then 2G for just $25 a month per line.
You have arrived at your destination.
Get unlimited and save. Total Wireless. Do amazing. Available at Walmart. See terms and conditions at TotalWireless.com.
Hello, Cape May County. This is County Commissioner Len Desiderio, co-chair of the County Recovery Task Force. We know that there are a lot of questions about the COVID vaccination. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov for information and to register in the state system. The beginning of this effort has been very challenging as we wait for the federal and state governments to implement distribution. But we already lead the state in vaccine administration, and we are ready to expand our efforts as soon as the state distributes larger amounts of vaccine to us. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov and click to register and check back often for more information. You will then be notified by the state when your turn comes about how to schedule your appointment. Go to capemaycountynj.gov and register now. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov for information and to register in the state system. Let's vaccinate safely together.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, 10 to the top of the hour, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. So, an interesting question that Brodes brought up that you were asked this morning, which was you get 6 titles in a 10-year span. You can distribute them however you want.
Yeah. Originally, I thought, wow, would it be cool to just go through what the Patriots just did?
You're just going full-fledged dynasty.
Right. You can do that. The Eagles could be now keep in mind Tom Brady was there for longer than the 10-year span and all, but it would be insane to have an Eagles dynasty to that level. But that was not my choice. Was that your choice?
No, I did not give. Every team has at least one.
Okay. So same with
I spread it out over the 6. Every team has at least one.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Sure. By the way, one team has 3.
Same.
Wow.
So we have the same list then.
I don't know.
Come on.
Which team has 3?
You're giving your boy Howie Roseman, your boy, 3 championships.
Maybe.
Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are.
We'll find out.
Okay. That's what I went. I went 3 Eagles, 1, 1, and 1. Here's the problem with that, though. And 1 NBA title, it's just the nature of the league. 1 NBA title doesn't pop for these stars. Like, you got to win 2, 3, 4 to, be in that category. So if Ben and Joel at the end of this win 1 championship, well, that is fantastic. I'm not taking anything away from that. But the NBA is all built on, a 4-year window of, dominating as a franchise. And with 1 NBA title, that's where it kind of makes it a little for me with the NBA title. Just 1, but that's what I went with.
All right.
That's what I went with.
I go 1 Flyers.
Yes. Give me that Stanley Cup, baby.
1 Phillies. 1 Eagles.
Wow.
3 Sixers.
Okay. So did you pretty much go with the mindset that I just went with, where 1 NBA title is kind of
No, not necessarily. There's a couple of reasons that I factored in here. Now, I wanted to do 3 Phillies.
Wow.
Would be my next option here.
Okay.
And these are my reasons. Because I'm not as into just watching the World Series with a couple of randos. So having the Phillies in the World Series 3 times would be so cool that you can be into the World Series.
No, that's a great point.
The Super Bowl, I'm into that game no matter who's in it. So the Eagles being in the Super Bowl is awesome, but I'm still watching the Super Bowl. And quite frankly, I'm not one of these sniffers who cares that my team had 5 Super Bowls. I don't care, because the next season, 3 seasons later, you want the coach and the GM fired. So winning that Super Bowl does nothing for me as a sports fan, obviously. So
yeah, you're unique with that.
I
for
will
sure.
watch the Super Bowl whether the Eagles are in it or not. I did this for my enjoyment. The Flyers, I would like to see one, but I'm not going to sit there and say, man, I really think because I won't watch the Stanley Cup Finals typically anyway.
6 would be cool. 6 Flyers once in 10 years.
Well, Rick Scott has an interesting point. He said 6 to the Sixers, the 6-peat. Plus, they are called the Sixers.
Well, if they won 6, like now, like Jordan has 6, like now that opens up the door for what do we talk about? Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, like 6 is insane.
The reason I went with 3 for the Sixers, it's so that all these miserable people out there who complained that for 2.5 years the Sixers lost games would now have to say, damn it, they won those championships, because their contention is this was about winning multiple championships, which it really wasn't about winning multiple championships. That's what they told you.
Yeah.
It was a business decision to get people re-interested in the franchise. They hit a home run with that. The people who think they did this to win multiple championships are naive fans who think they really cared about winning multiple championships, and that's why they lost. No, nobody cared about the Sixers. They had to reignite interest in the organization again. That's why they did what they did, and it worked tenfold. So if they won 3 championships from this, all those miserable saps would have to say, damn it, it worked.
Yeah, but they could have done that to Howie Roseman, though. I thought you would have used that mentality towards Howie.
Well, I gave him 1. If he wins another Super Bowl, Roseman would say, I won 2 Super Bowls. Go back to your football guy and rub some Ben Gay on his ass. That's what he would say to them. That's what the poster would say. Your football guy. Take that, football guy. I have 2 Super Bowls now. That's all he needs. He needs 1 more to just be like, dude, go pound it. Football at 4 with Adam Caplan's coming up.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action. The Flyers are in Buffalo to face the Sabres tomorrow. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
Want to increase your memory, focus, and concentration? Learn a second language. That's right. In several studies, brain scans find a noticeable difference in brain activity in bilingual people compared to those who speak only one language. Learning another language is one of the most effective and practical ways to increase intelligence, keep your mind sharp, and protect your brain against aging. Researchers believe knowing a second language can postpone the onset of dementia. We always want to encourage our kids and grandkids to pay attention in language class, but the benefits of being bilingual can improve our brain function at any age. With local classes, online apps, and other educational tools, it's easier than ever to master a new language. So if you were snoozing during your high school Spanish class, it's not too late to learn now. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
On some models excludes Corvette. With GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details. It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever, saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Body Armor Light isn't just a sports drink. It's more than a sports drink. With no artificial sweeteners, no sugar added, and only 20 calories per 16-ounce bottle. Body Armor Light is changing the game when it comes to hydration. plus potassium-packed electrolytes, coconut water, antioxidants, and vitamins make Body Armor Light the perfect choice for your next workout and your active lifestyle. Body Armor Light, more than a sports drink. Head to drinkbodyarmor.com to learn more.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. It's time for some Straight Talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Here's the good news. Even with high unemployment, there's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today at mycomputercareer.edu. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
We know you're spending a lot of time at home, and maybe that home could use a little TLC. Since going to a home show isn't really a thing right now, 97.3 ESPN FM is bringing the home show to you. Local exhibitors have been setting up in a virtual show featuring the latest products and services for your home. Go to 973ESPN.com to find great articles on home improvement tips and trends. Thanks to our friends at Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Broadleys.net, your trusted source for 3 generations.
A town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
He is hit. He stumbles. He's down.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Adam Caplan.
I have real confidence that our football operations can once again create a dominant football team.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, which dropped yesterday morning. The new one will come out on Monday morning. And check out their new show, Q&A. Very good stuff. Very entertaining. One of the hosts of the Inside the Birds podcast is Adam Caplan, along with Jeff Mosher. Adam is our guest on this Football Friday, football all year long. And it's brought to you by Dr. Lyle M. Back with everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Call 856-MAKEOVER. Adam is with us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline on this Football at 4 Friday. How are you, Adam?
Hello, boys. Yeah, and I saw the news. Our man Hunter Brody is starting his own company, it sounds like. Now, Mosher told me, and I need you to confirm this, Hunter. Please confirm this. Are you starting an adult movie studio? Is this true?
Whoa, I told Moshe to keep that quiet.
All right, okay. Well, can you? I mean, he texted me the other day because I was not aware of this, and I was like, "Wow, we should be doing an article on this. We should have you on our show, and you need to explain this."
That's amazing.
An adult movie studio.
Well,
I like
really?
it.
I didn't tell Gil exactly what happened, so now I'm in a pickle here. You know what I'm saying? I kind of told him I was going in a different direction.
All right, yeah. I mean, look, it caught me by surprise. I wasn't sure if you're old enough to do that. I don't know. I'm not prying. I'm not asking.
That's where we start this Friday edition.
Anyway.
Let's take a look at a couple of things here.
Sure.
I definitely, we're getting to this free agent area. Now, I want to start with this real quick before we kind of look at this roster and where they are.
Yeah.
We know, Adam, that they are way over the cap. They got cap problems galore. Does that restrict them from bringing anybody in free? Like, in other words, they got to bring some people in. They got to change this roster a little bit. So the cap issues they have, can they not bring in a guy to compete for the backup this position or a backup offensive. You know what I'm saying? Like, can they not bring anybody in with where they are cap wise?
They will be, not right now, but they will by March 17th. They'll be under the cap, and they'll be able to do some small things, some mid-level free agents. I'm not expecting anything big at all. That's just kind of where they're at. Look, the way you win is you build through with your own players, not through free agency, but you supplement through it, and they'll do that. They'll do a little bit of that. Look, they've got a lot of decisions to make, a lot of moves to make. Alshon Jeffrey, Malik Jackson, they'll get those guys off the roster. They already did their pre-restructure, as I call it. Deshaun Jackson's already been cut. They could approach other players for restructures to clear up more cap space. Some will get, by the way, they'll do some extensions. That's definitely going to happen. And there are going to be more players probably going to have to move on. Now, I would say this, though. It's probably not going to be as bad as we think it is. The issue, though, is when the dead money hit, when the cap hit hits, when the Wentz trade, see, they have to account for the Wentz trade. That's because, by the way, when that trade goes through, you have that immediate cap hit. Even if they did a post-June 1 designation with it, you have to carry that cap hit through June 1st. You only get two of those. Now, if they don't use a post-June 1 on Wentz, it's a huge cap hit. Jeffrey and Malik Jackson will get the post-June 1. But the problem is when you designate these cap hits to split the hit over 2 seasons, you have to carry it through June 1st. So they've got a lot of work to do. I've been looking at this the last couple of weeks. We'll talk more about it next Friday because we'll still, the free agency doesn't start for 2.5 weeks. But there's some things they can do to move money, do what are called simple restructures with players, guys, they know are going to be on the roster for years to come. You want to restructure those players. Where they've screwed up a little bit is restructuring older players, and then the guys get hurt, like Jeffrey. That was a mistake. Or guys who might retire. You got to be careful of that.
All right. So I found it interesting that, how would you describe where this roster is? Is this need a rebuild, rip it down? In other words, hey, let's move on from Fletcher Cox. Let's move on from Brandon Graham. Let's get rid of those veteran players. Or do they say, nope, those guys still have some value. Let's just retool some things and still work around the context of those veterans?
I think it's a combination, Mike, of the latter, the retooling. And let me explain to you what that is from an NFL standpoint, because I remember talking to John Schneider, the Seahawks GM, about this when they moved on completely from the Legion of Boom, their entire secondary. He explained to me that his thing was because their offense was going to be so good. You have Russell Wilson, so you should never have to rebuild. So his thought process was, hey, look, let's take a look at this. Okay, we're gonna have to rebuild our secondary, but we don't have to rebuild the whole roster. That's a retooling. The Eagles, as I understand it, are between a retooling and a rebuild. It goes to what you were talking about the defensive line, about older guys. Okay, they do have 2 older guys there, in Graham and Cox, but they have Derek Barnett, who is a young guy, Josh Sweat, who's a young guy. They're super young at linebacker. Then again, they don't really have anyone other than Alex Singleton they're probably ready to use anyway. They have to get a little bit younger in the secondary. Must get significantly younger on one side of their offensive line. Running back, they're young. Receiver, they're really young. So that's why it's not the rebuild that I think people are talking about. It absolutely, though, is a combination, though, of a rebuild and retooling. It's not a complete rebuild. No, I don't see that at all.
Well, you mentioned the defensive line. What about Derek Barnett? Is there an extension in the conversation?
Yeah, I think, Hunter, I don't see them trade him. I just don't. I don't see that. Why do I say that? They don't have anyone else who's ready. Josh Sweat has been a terrific third end. He played more snaps than I think we all expected last season, but in place. He played high-end backup, low-end starter snaps. He's not a start. He's not a full-time guy. He's great in his role. I don't see this in terms of a starter. Now, they could extend his contract. He's eligible to have it done. I don't. Now, the issue with Barnett is, Moshe and I talked about this a year ago, and now we're talking about it again. We both agree that we don't see him playing on this final year of his deal at $10.051 million. It becomes fully guaranteed on March 17th. What you would want to do is extend it, significantly lower his base salary. Obviously, you give him a big signing bonus, which they do. and then make it work. So you could save pretty good cap space with that. I can't imagine, because, by the way, he was the Seahawks, one of a bunch of teams to call at the trade deadline, and they were told he was not available. So I just don't see him moving away from it. I've been going back and forth on it, but this guy's a former first-round pick. You can't bail on these guys. And, by the way, he had a good season. Is he a great player? No. He's an above average to good player, and you just don't walk away from these guys.
All right, I guess a very big question this offseason will be Jason Kelce's future, because obviously he's been the veteran center. It's a very important spot on that line. They don't really have – I guess they have options in-house, but they don't have that guy who's a center. They're going to have to move somebody most likely to fill that spot. So what do we know about Jason Kelce's plans for next year?
Yeah, so a couple things here, and it plays in a little bit of what you were talking about. I don't believe that Kelce's replacement is on the roster right now. I know they like Nate Herbig, but I don't believe they think he's ready to be a full-time starter. Did a good job, by the way. He could play center or guard. They definitely found something in him as a pretty good backup, and now they know he could start if you need him to start for a specific amount of time. But there's nothing official here. I checked into it this week, but my sense is, it's just my sense, in the end, when he makes his decision, I believe he'll play rather than retire. Again, he's not announced anything. I checked into it. He hasn't said he hasn't told anyone anything yet for sure. Just my sense from checking into it the last couple of weeks that better chance that he plays or than retires. And I also don't think if he's coming back, I don't see him playing. I can't see him playing for another team. He lives here now. His family's here. His friends are here. I just don't see him moving on here. But Jason Kelce is a pretty remarkable story, former 6th-round pick. And look, another Pro Bowler. We could argue whether he should have made the Pro Bowl or not, but I expect we're going to hear something more next week. I don't think this is going to – either way, guys, I think we're going to hear something very, very soon on Jason Kelce.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm wondering if he decides he comes back, does he do that because maybe he thinks the team has a chance to be halfway? Like, do you come back thinking the team is a disaster?
Yeah. Mike, my understanding was – that at the end of the season, other than that elbow injury, which was fairly significant, I don't know how the hell this guy did it. It's a pretty bad elbow injury, but he was able to play through it, and he's rehabbed it pretty well. And I heard that he'd felt pretty good at the end of the season. So again, just to be clear here, because I'm not saying he's definitely playing.
Yeah.
But if you had to say player retire, I say he plays.
Okay. Now that's interesting, because if you get him back, and I've said this a bunch, Adam, I want to get your opinion on this. You got Kelce, sure. You're hoping to have Brooks, you're hoping to have Lane Johnson, you're hoping to have Isaac Seumalo, and then you have the two guys battled out for left tackle. Don't you feel pretty good about that offensive line? And I don't know if you caught Travis Fulgham's tweets today with Jalen Reagor, but they both, one said, our offense will have no issues next year. And then the subtweet from Reagor was at all.
Really?
Yes.
That's it. Well, by the way, they're very close friends.
I wanted to bring them up so that I get them, right. But in other words, the offensive line, said, I am not worried about our offense at all, in all capitals. And Reagor wrote back, at all. I don't know
Here's
if
the problem.
Anybody or them just saying, the reports of our demise are a little exaggerated.
Right. Well, okay, but here's the issue. Lane Johnson, great player, come off significant surgery. We had reported a couple weeks ago that he felt pretty good. You think the surgery went well and he's doing well with it. That's fine. But he had major ankle surgery. Brandon Brooks coming off of a torn Achilles. Jason Kelce also. They've got 3 guys over 30, okay? Seumalo, solid football player, no doubt. Left tackle, the job is open. We fully expect Jordan Mailata to be that guy. By the way, they could extend his contract. I think that'll get done. I think he'll get his contract extended sometime before the season starts. It could be the next month. It could be 6 months from now. But I think he gets his contract extended. And they have Andre Dillard competing for it. So yeah, Mike, if you could tell me if Johnson, Brooks, and Kelce, if Kelce's back, if they play 14 games, hell yeah, this is a pretty good offensive line. But you can't tell me that.
Sure. Absolutely. And I'm just going, if that line is healthy, it should be pretty good. And then all of a sudden you feel, okay, you might have a much better offense with that line than the line you saw last week.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
By the way, there's the tweet for the people watching up on the screen. Fulgham, I'm not worried about our offense at all. Reagor, at all.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I actually saw too. Jalen Reagor tagged Jalen Hurts on Instagram with the picture of them dapping up each other too. So there's something going on right now between it all. But since we're on offensive line, I want to get your thoughts on, because they drafted Driscoll and he stepped in and did a nice job, and you brought up Herbig as well. Is there future starter roles if we talk about these older guys that end up getting injured? Or are they just more of like hey, you can piece things together with them? Or is their ceiling more of like, hey, these guys, their skill sets, their ceilings, it can possibly be a starter just down the road more?
Hunter, as I understand it, they believe Driscoll could potentially start at right tackle or guard down the line. Now, the thing with him is we had said on our show Inside the Birds, over the summer, the thing we were hearing is he needed to get bigger physically. He needed an offseason to build his body up. And that still holds true. He got hurt late in the season, but they really think a lot of him. Mosher had said on our show that he was hearing that Stoutland, the offensive line coach, is very high on him. So this fourth-round pick has a chance to be, at worst, a 6 offensive lineman. They're swing guard, right tackle of the future, or potentially a starter. They may. Everything we've heard on him is pretty good so far.
Adam Caplan, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. The Inside the Birds all-season podcast drops Mondays and Thursdays at 6 a.m. So you can get all the latest on the Eagles. Of course, free agency, the draft coming up. I will, real quick, before we move into some NFL stuff, because off-season's here, we're going to get a lot of NFL stuff from Adam, who does a great job covering the league all over as well. And there's so many great stories out there. But yesterday, Mel Kiper's mock draft had Jamar Chase at number 6. If you were to get a sit-down with Howie Roseman right now, what answer do you think he would say of position they value the most at that spot?
I don't think he would look at it that way. I think it's whatever their board. The way it works in the National Football League is you stack your board. Okay, they use the Baltimore/New England point system. I think it's something like, let's say the highest number is 8. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I know it's somewhere around 8, right?
Yep.
If he's a 7.5 and Surtain is a 7.47, they're taking Jamar Chase. That's what they're supposed to do. By the way, both positions have to be of need. So you can't go wrong with either player. Now, Pitts from my neck of the woods at Abington, PA, the tight end from Florida, I'm sure he's very high on their grades. I'm sure he's a top 10 grade from them. It has to be, because he's so gifted and so special. To me, if it's Pitts, and we'll obviously talk about more in the weeks to come because we're over 2 months from the draft, but if it's Pitts, it's Surtain and Chase, the tight end is less of a need. It's just not. Goddard's their guy at tight end. Ertz is going to be moving on at some point in the near future. We think. We still believe so. So it comes down to whatever the grade is, and that's that. Oh, by the way, that's the way they should do it. Unfortunately, as we saw with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside 2 years ago, we don't think they went exactly by the way it should have gone.
Is that how you end up taking a quarterback in round 2? Was his grade number that high?
I would bet, Mike. Do I know at absolute certainty exactly where they had him graded? No, but I know in our reporting we know that most teams had third and fourth round grades on him. Hearing Roseman talk after that draft last year, it sure seemed like there was a guy they knew that they didn't want to risk. In fact, I'm sure this is the case because he said it in his own way. They didn't want to risk not getting him with their late third round pick. So they had to take him in the second round. That's simple as that.
All right, let's go and take a look around the NFL with Adam Caplan, NFL Insider, InsideTheBirds.com. And, of course, Russell Wilson has not demanded a trade, Adam, but he already has destinations that he wouldn't mind visiting possibly. How does this happen? This is a bizarre story.
Yeah, and look, the problem is the Seahawks and Wilson's agent, Mark Rodgers, they've had sort of a frosty relationship. When Rodgers, I remember reporting when I was at ESPN, gosh, was that 4 years ago? Whatever it was, his second two extensions ago, I had reported that he was asking for a 4-year fully guaranteed contract, I think for $100 million. And the Seahawks said no immediately, that no one's ever done a contract like that before. 4 years. Now, Kirk Cousins got the best quarterback contract in NFL history for quarterback. If you look at structure.
You got a guaranteed deal too.
Right. And Wilson's quite frankly was better. His agent, what he wanted was way better, and they weren't doing that. And his agent's a baseball agent, Mark Rodgers. He doesn't really have any NFL players, but Wilson, as you know, is a pretty good baseball player. So You know what? Here's the issue that I'm told by multiple sources on Wilson. He respects Pete Carroll in a big way. He doesn't have anything issue with him personally. But he, guys, wants to control that offense. You know, they're a run-based offense. They'll always have been with Pete Carroll. I had a report before the season started that Pete finally gave in. They were going to come out throwing, not running. And they sure as heck did. Their pass run ratio for the first half of their first 8 games, 63% pass, 37% run. Unfortunately, the second half of the season, their first half play calls were 58.6% pass, 41.4 run. So you saw them pass it less, by the way, score less, and his completion percentage went down, and he was not in a rhythm. Now, my understanding is the Seahawks believe that part of it was the coverage they got because, you know, it was bombs away to Metcalf and Lockett, and that was part of it. But teams are playing cover 2, taking away the deep ball, and you know, Russell doesn't check the ball down. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like to do that, kind of like Carson Wentz, ironically. And Wilson struggled the final 8 games. He did not play well.
I'm starting to see a trend here. You know, Wentz and Doug, and now Wilson and Pete Carroll, Rodgers and the Packers, and Deshaun Watson too. You know, there is a trend here, but I know the Deshaun Watson is a little bit of a different situation. Any update on that? Maybe a trade package conversation? Anything along the lines of Deshaun Watson right now?
Yeah, this is a quote from a high-ranking personnel source who's talked to Nick Cassera, the GM of the Texans, multiple times. Quote, "We've talked to Nick more than once. Nothing has changed. When the subject changes when we bring up Watson." So what they do is, because there's a cat and mouse game, like a team that called the Raiders for Derek Carr when they were exchanging names that might be available. The personnel source who spoke to Mike Mayock never brought up Carr, and this guy didn't bring up Carr. But when he brought up Mariota, it was very clear that he was available. But what you do is if you want to play, you ask about him. But Casario would not even talk about the name Deshaun Watson. He changed the subject. So still, he's not available right now. But if he gets traded, folks, I do believe it'll be very close to the draft.
Adam Caplan with the latest. And, of course, all your Eagles Inside the Birds drops Monday. The NFL, follow him at Caplan NFL to get more NFL news. And, of course, football at 4 every Friday right here with Adam from Inside the Birds. Jeff is back on Monday, and that's when the next Inside the Birds will drop at 6 a.m. Make that a part of your morning commute. All right, Adam, have a great weekend, pal.
All right, boys, thank you.
All right, he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. And, of course, Football at 4 is brought to you by Dr. Lyle and Beck. Whoa! Got Brodes right my face up on this screen here. There we go. Fix that back up. For everything from skincare and cosmetic surgery, go to iloveLyleBack.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle and Beck, proud sponsor of Football at 4. If one of those guys gets traded, Wilson or Watson, which one is it?
Probably, man, it's hard to imagine Watson going back there, even though they're playing hardball. There's just no way he goes back there.
You know, people forget Nick Casario was the GM in New England who gets, like, no credit. Nobody knows who he is. Everybody just assumed Belichick did everything. Like, that guy had nothing to do with anything. He's not a football guy.
Yeah, he's not a football guy, but yeah, the Deshaun Watson thing is crazy. But I also think it's crazy. Okay, so you're telling me Wilson and Pete Carroll banged heads?
Well,
you're telling me Rodgers and the Packers?
It's not that they banged heads. He just doesn't agree. It's like me and you. We don't not get along, but there might be a topic that we don't agree on.
Right.
And he's like, I like you. I just don't agree with your offensive philosophy.
Yeah, my point more is like these quarterback and head coaches battles, maybe they go on more. I'm not saying to the level of whatever happened here, but you know, it does seem to be more of a common theme than it is not. That these quarterbacks get upset with their coaches. These quarterbacks are unhappy with where they are. Like, I don't know. Does that change anything in terms of where Carson Wentz is? That these top-tier quarterbacks are in a similar back and forth with their front office and coach?
Good question. We got plenty to chew. Why does this guy hate you so much, by the way?
I don't know. I don't know.
He's very hateful.
I'm okay with that, though.
I could be a female, actually. I don't know. I'm just assuming.
If you know,
yeah, but it's just like, all right, like we get it.
I know.
Just one guy. Like, all right. What did you do? What did you do to this guy?
He'll be happy in about an hour and a half.
I won't be.
I know. Me neither. It's
like,
just
I don't
sad.
agree with this guy, Nadir. This guy could go pound sand. I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
It's our last show. Brodes is leaving. He's happy. He says, so glad Brodes is leaving.
Yeah,
not me. I'd say not glad Brodes is leaving.
I know. Well, guess what? I'll come over. We'll have some low-cal IPAs. Nothing's going to change here. Friendship's still strong, right? Or am I not invited anymore? I'm not part of the 97.3 team. I can't come by anymore, huh? That's disappointing.
No, everybody. Look, when the world reopens, my house is always a open door
Yes,
for
it
everybody.
is.
Even when Josh doesn't show up.
He didn't like that.
He missed the biggest party of the year.
That's right. I was there.
You were.
I was
So
there.
is Frank Close. So is Pete Thompson. The only person, my old trusty producer.
That's
No
right.
show.
Even Schweim came.
Even the Schweimer.
Schweim came.
Yep. Nope.
Of course not.
All right, PT tonight at 5. Todd Rank tonight at 5:30.
Hey, South Jersey, it's Billy Schweim. It's an exciting weekend in the locker room. We will review all the hot topics from the week. On Saturday, we'll talk with 6-time Stanley Cup champion and a Hockey Hall of Fame legend, Mark Messier, about his career and what he's doing now. On Sunday, we'll be talking baseball. Sunday's guest is former Phillies relief pitcher, Scott Air. A Sixers recap and a Flyers preview. All the action starts every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.
Bigger, better Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda.
Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accords, Civics, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Bigger, better Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Dorothy Roofing. Call 1-877-97-Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin Daly, the owner of Dorothy Gale Roofing. Do you have a leak? Do you need a new roof? Give us a call today for honest, wholehearted advice at 1-877-97-Kevin.
Wizard quality comes with DorothyRoofing.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Okay, class, let's bump it up to 9.
Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We got to build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs.
Hey, don't talk to Limu like that.
I'm not, I'm talking to you.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
DQ presents How to Find Meal Fulfillment. First, order the delicious new rotisserie-style chicken bites from DQ. Then feast your eyes on these unbreaded, tender, juicy, 100% white meat beauties. Next, take a bite of the bite. Realize that unbreaded chicken loaded with flavor is finally possible. And last, call your boss and ask for that promotion. You may have started last week, but hey, if chicken this good is possible, anything is possible. New rotisserie-style chicken bites are now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ugh, nothing's worse than starting trouble. We can help you out. We can start with a free battery test. That way we'll know if your battery is causing the issue. It could be your starter or your alternator. You don't want to waste money on the wrong fix. And if you do need a new battery, we've got you covered with a wide selection of replacement batteries. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Recently, Total Wireless helped Charlie Michelle stage a virtual dance recital for her friends and family.
This event was super meaningful to them.
Because when you move to Total Wireless, you can get amazing devices on nationwide 5G. And with unlimited plans starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-20-20. See terms and conditions at TotalWireless.com.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Now, Town Square Media has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square Media. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
Are you excited for the start of Philly spring training tomorrow?
That sounded so like you aren't.
I said, are you excited?
Of course I am.
For the start of Philly spring training tomorrow.
Yeah, but the way that you said it was like, are you excited for Philly spring training tomorrow?
Are you excited for Philly spring training tomorrow?
Of course.
Ivan Nova gets the start.
I'm very excited for Phillies baseball, like to an extreme.
I talked to Frank today for a while.
Is he excited too?
No, Frank doesn't like baseball.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if he was
Frank waits all year for this. No, he's not like me. He was supposed to be there tomorrow.
I forgot. He rips through 1973 baseball cards while the NBA Finals is going on and tweets out the pictures.
He's supposed to be there tomorrow. I put the credentials in. He got approved to be there, and then he told me, I'm not going. He had to move his trip back because they changed the whole, I don't know, they changed the schedule. They revised the schedule. But he was approved to be there tomorrow.
Well, is that why they play?
They play tomorrow. Blevins is going.
I don't know why I thought they played Sunday.
Blevins is going to be there because he was in Tampa to cover the Sixers game, so he went over to Clearwater.
Oh, all right. Well, if I go to Philly's schedule, the first game's on Sunday.
Is it Sunday? It was supposed to be Saturday.
Oh, okay. They moved it. Okay, that's what it is then. Yeah, so Sunday, 1 o'clock. I'm juiced.
Ivan Nova. Nothing better than a spring training game, the red jerseys.
I agree. Here we go. I'm juiced. Give me some analytics. No, I went too far.
Yeah, I'm out on the analytics.
Okay, I apologize.
This hour, by the way, brought to you by Prop Swap, where America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bet, take your profit. Find out how at PropSwap.com or download the Prop Swap app today. So we were talking about if you had 6 titles and could spread them out. Now, I told you I would do 1 Flyers, 1 Phillies, 1 Eagles. This is weird. So I wrote this down twice. And on this one, I wrote 1 Flyers, 3 Phillies, 1 Sixers, 1 Eagle. And then I did 1 Flyer, 1 Sixer, 1 Eagle, 1 Philly, 3 Sixers.
Now, it's interesting. We didn't never go 2 for a team. Like, we didn't go 2.
Well, I wanted everybody
2.
to get 1.
Yeah, I agree with that. To leave someone out, especially if you're going to pick the Flyers. I mean, they're in a drought here. We got to get this one off the board.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I think a Stanley Cup run
Giroux
would be awesome.
The cup.
2010 was so much fun.
Yeah, I need a Claude Giroux hoist.
I don't think you're going to get one.
What?
I don't think they win a cup in the next 2 to 3 years. How many more years do you think he plays?
Not many
It's
more.
a good question for Pete Thompson, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
How many do you think he goes Flyers, like 4?
No, I think he at least gives everyone 1. So we might go 3, though. But now I'm starting to rethink about things with this Sixers one. Because six, like if Embiid wins 6 and he's the guy in 6 of those, is he not in the conversation of LeBron and Michael Jordan?
Has to be. If he wins 6 titles and they happen in a 10-year span, especially if there's 6 in a row.
Well, what if they go 6 and 4? Then it's like the LeBron thing where it's, hey, he has 5 wins, but you lose. But that means who says that they go 10 final runs? That's not necessarily the case.
No, exactly. But if they won like Jordan 6 in a row and they went, well, they didn't win 6 in a row, but Jordan won 6 in a row.
Right.
And he was 6 for 6. He never lost one. So if Embiid went to the finals 6 times and won all 6 times, him and Ben Simmons, they might have to be regarded as the best teammates of all time.
You know what's crazy, though? The fact that you're not wrong. Going there 6 straight or just 6 in general and winning 6, that's unbelievable. But we just devalued getting there 10 times.
Not a devalue.
I know. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just talking more general, big picture, public conversation. If someone gets there 10 times and their record is 6 and 4, that looks worse than getting there 6 times and going 6-0. There's a huge flaw there. You're getting to the finals. We now take away points for getting farther and losing. But if you lose in the Eastern Conference Finals and doesn't go towards your finals record, it's not as bad of a loss, which is crazy.
A lot of it was because Jordan got to the finals in the back end of his career. He didn't get there in the beginning. Where LeBron was getting there in the beginning and losing, Jordan didn't get there in the beginning.
Right.
But once he got there, he then never lost. And then he retired. I mean, he went to the Wizards. He retired and then came back and went to the Wizards. But in his Bulls time, whereas LeBron was getting there early in his career, Jordan was not.
Right. I guess like with Tom Brady, it's different because there's no MJ to Tom Brady real. You can throw names out there, but there's no one on the same category of Tom Brady winning. So him having losses on his Super Bowl resume, if there was someone who had 6 rings and had 0 losses, then we'd be having more of a debate. But because that's not even there to that level.
Well, the difference is too, like football, we talk about this all the time. Like the Eagles have a Super Bowl in the last 20 years. How many teams have multiple Super Bowls? Like 3.
Right. And basketball, there's teams that
basketball,
go through.
right. It's like there's only about 12 teams in the history of basketball that even have championships. Most teams don't have one. You know, it's like the Heat have a bundle, the Lakers have a ton, the Celtics have a ton, and there's a couple of randos in there. Like most teams in the NBA don't win a championship. In football, it has been where almost every team has one except for like the Browns, the Lions, the Falcons. There's a very few amount of teams that don't have a Super Bowl.
Are you telling me the 04 Pistons with Ben Wallace is a bunch of nobodies?
It's the exception. They are, okay, the Ben Wallace Pistons are the Brad Johnson Bucks. They're the Trent Dilfer Ravens. That's not the model of winning. You can do it once every 20 years or so. You get that group of
the Mavericks are another one in my opinion. When they beat LeBron James, like that team wasn't that level of championship, insane caliber team. Do you think? Or am I underselling them a little bit?
Here's the thing. I agree with what you're saying in theory. They did have, which I think is a wildly underrated player in Dirk. Dirk could be one of the top 10 players of all time, but he played in an era where I think he kind of got undervalued a little bit. His step back shot is one of the most indefensible things in the history of basketball. It's like akin to Kareem's skyhook when he was
could be
doing.
The logo. One knee up.
Yes.
Could be the logo.
You could do a Dirk fadeaway, boom. Now, by the way, that Mavericks team, we talk about it. They had 2 Hall of Famers on that team. We act like they were like, They had Dirk Nowitzki, who, again, I contend could be he might be a top 5 player in the last 20 years. No?
If I had the full list in front of us, I'm sure we could nitpick here and there, but your point is correct that he's up there for sure.
And they had Jason Kidd. So they had 2 legit Hall of Fame level players on that team. Pretty darn good team. I mean, other than that, right, they kind of had a bunch of role players.
The Pistons had like you go through their roster and there's, I know it's not to the level of Dirk by any means, but they did have players that you don't win a championship with stiff. So
no, but they had
Rasheed Wallace.
Like Ben Wallace was, keep in mind, Ben Wallace, it was in an era that was so different where you didn't shoot the 3. They had a bunch of guys. Like they had the best mid-range shooter in the game with Richard Hamilton.
Yeah.
They had the best clutch guy in the game with Chauncey Billups. They had the best rebounder and defensive player and shot blocker with Ben Wallace. They had one of the best on-ball defenders with Tayshaun Prince. They had one of the best stretch guys. Rasheed Wallace was really one of the first guys that was 6'10" and stretched out and shot threes. Like they had the best of the mediocres. That's not fair to say, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I agree with that. No doubt. But yeah, it's just funny to think about that team and to think about how, you win a champ. And that's why I think one NBA title, you become the Pistons. You become the Dallas Mavericks team, which everyone knows about. We talk about these teams, but it doesn't have the same power as we could be a Golden State Warriors type of dynasty in this hypothetical with 3 championships. That's a lot more like the NBA, one title in the NBA. It doesn't do it enough, sadly. That's where the NBA is, because you go through these 3-year stretches of, the same teams in the NBA Finals for 3 years. That's not how it works in all the other leagues.
Yeah, keep in mind, that Dallas Mavericks team, too, was a 3 seed. They were an anomaly. We've done this for years. If you're not the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed, you're not winning. And the number 3 seed wins even way less. I think we did this a couple of years ago, back when the Sixers, the whole argument of, look, the Sixers were the 8 seed, the 7 seed, the 6 seed, the 5 seed. that no team in NBA history had won a title being the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seed.
With no fans, does that change the importance of one?
But that's
and two?
Going away.
That's true. That is going away. That's fine. Fair
Quick,
point.
hopefully, like maybe even by the end of this year. All right, you might see fans. Well, you're going to see fans soon. You're going to see fans in the Wells Fargo Center for the Flyers and Sixers. It might not be a whole heck of a lot, but that's March. The NBA playoffs start, I think it's May 22nd. Was that what it was?
In that range.
March, April, May, almost all of May. 3 months down the road, you might have that number inflated. You might have, I don't want to say 50%, but you might have an arena with like 30, 25, 30% in there.
I agree with you. I mean, we're already hearing it now that Philadelphia is ready to start moving along here. So I think by the playoffs, we're probably talking about a significant amount of people.
Now, if you go NBA Finals all time, you have the Lakers have 32. They've been there 32 times. They have 17 titles. Boston has 17. Philadelphia has 6. If you Philadelphia Golden State, the Warriors franchise, Philadelphia Syracuse has 3. The Knicks have 2. The Pistons have 3. The Bulls have 6. The Heat have 3. The Spurs have 5. After that group of teams, you have 1, 2 by the Rockets, 1 by the Hawks, and they weren't even the Atlanta Hawks yet.
That's what I was going to say. How much of this is dominated by, when there were the lack of teams, lack of growth, all that. It's like, I hate when the Yankees fans talk about all their rings. Oh, yeah, you were born back then when you watched in black and white. Get out of here. You can't count those championships. You're a fraud. I can't stand that. The Yankees championship argument is the most flawed thing in the world.
Here we go. Lakers 17, Celtics 17, Golden State 6, Chicago 6, San Antonio 5, Philadelphia 3, Pistons 3, Heat 3, Knicks 2, Rockets 2. After that, everybody else only has 1, and a bunch of teams have none.
So should we be rethinking about our question here? Maybe giving them to the Sixers?
Well, I gave 3 to the Sixers.
Oh, yeah, you went 3. I only went 1.
I gave 3 chances. So the question was, if you had 6 titles in a 10-year span to spread out through the 4 teams, how would you divvy those up? And I went 3 Sixers and then 1 each to the other 3 teams.
I did think about the Phils, though, because what they did in that stretch was so fun, and they only got 1 championship. So I was kind of thinking, to give them 3 or to give them 2, to up that 08 team of Utley, Howard, that would be a really entertaining ride. To do that was fun as it was, and it was only 1 title. Imagine getting 2 or 3.
I remember being on the air at that time and saying, beating the Rays was great. It was fun. You won the World Series. But to be a memorable team, not just in this area, throughout baseball, you have to beat the Yankees and go back-to-back, and they couldn't do it.
So how do you think that 08 team is viewed?
If they would have won back-to-back by beating the Yankees, I think they would have been viewed as, man. And then they got to the playoffs and won 5 divisions. I think people would have looked back and said that Phillies team of 8, 9, 10, 11 was one of the best 5-year runs in baseball.
I still think I think it only adds to the intriguing story, though, that I'm not saying that this is good by any means. Winning it would have been better, but because they got to the Yankees, because they lost, and because they started to slip one step after the year, after picking up all of these top-tier talented pitchers, I think their story, even though they only came away with 1 championship, it is a really good baseball story.
That's because their story elsewise is so awful.
That's true. Oh, for sure.
They're the worst
stink.
team. They're the worst team in the history of sports.
But even if you look at the Royals, for example, I think the Phillies runs, and maybe it's the power of where we are, East Coast City and all, significantly overpowers what the Royals did going to the going to the World Series and making those runs. The Phillies, even though they only came out with 1, I think that's a powerful story more than a team that did it at a different rate, I
don't know. The Royals have a very big baseball tradition and history. And keep in mind, they are a very small market next to Philadelphia. Right. So them to come out of the ashes, win that title, and didn't they get to another World Series and lose? They
went to 1 and lost. They went to 1 and lost 1. So I'm mistaken. But regardless, they still ended up, making like a good baseball run over a span.
Oh, the Royals. Now, because they were so bad. When I was growing up, the Royals were really good. In fact, they beat the Phillies in the World Series in 80. But they lost to the Phillies in the World Series in 80. They were one of the Phillies. They were always there. The Royals were always good. They won in 85.
They lost
Cardinals in 85.
They lost in 14, won in 15.
But from 85 or 86 to about 14, they were miserable. one of the worst teams in baseball, but a great, tremendous fan base and like very passionate. Well, Kansas City, St. Louis, those two teams have a lot, like they played each other in the 85. They have a lot of great history and tradition. Like the Royals story, I think, is kind of interesting because it's a small market after they had been bad for all those years and they rise from the ashes to win a World Series and then get back to another one. Did they get to one first and lose
Yes.
and then win?
They went to 14. They went to it in 14, lost, went to it in 15, won.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Like, how does that stack up against a small market Rays team? Because I don't think that's looked at the same way at all.
And the Rays have been good, though.
True.
Problem
is the division they play in.
Previous to 08, they were horrible.
Yeah.
08 was them like coming out of nowhere and becoming good, and then they've been pretty good since.
True. But they're in such it's like you look at them differently because they have to bang up against the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it's such a tough spot for them. So when they do succeed like they do, it's like, wow, to play in that size.
You don't ever know, like growing up, like you don't know the Orioles to ever be any good.
True.
Like the Orioles were, it was like the Orioles and the Yankees were always kind of battling because they had like Mike Mussina, those teams were always great. The Red Sox, were just kind of like the team. Of course, they had that drought for all those years, and they finally got over the hump in like what, 04, something like that.
I was going to say, I do remember them winning it back in 14 when the Orioles, they did win the division back.
Orioles, they had one random year a little while ago, but that's it. But the Orioles were a great for, like when I was going, they beat the Phillies in 83, but the Orioles were always good. Now there was no Rays back then.
It's a nice ballpark down there.
Where?
Camden Yards?
Yeah, you know what? I think the lease is up on that park. Now, I can't imagine they would, get rid of her or anything, because it was really the first of all these new retro, like older-looking ballparks. I haven't been to Oriole Park at Camden Yards, though, in years.
Well, I went to a game there. No reason to. It's not like they're giving you entertainment.
Yeah, I like to go to a ball.
I agree with you. Get a dog.
When you go to a city in the middle of the summer, you don't like say, hey, let me check out their schedule.
Of course I do. I'm a baseball guy.
What was the last road game you've been to? Just like two randos.
You know what?
Not the Phillies, just two randos.
It was actually Baltimore because I went to school down there a couple of years ago and they had like $1 tickets because no one would go. Like, yo, fellas, why
their
don't we
attendance down there is terrible.
Yeah, they were like, hey, why don't we go? So we took a little trip down to Baltimore.
So anytime I go to a city that has pro sports, I always look at the schedule. Like I've been to, you know how many Lightning games I've been to?
That's crazy.
Lightning Kings was the last game I saw down there.
Lightning Kings.
Yep. Lightning Kings.
What happened?
I don't know. Somebody won.
Nice.
I said to the lady at the window, we walked up to the ticket window and said, just get us in the building. You know where they put us? Our backs were on the wall in the second deck.
Because it was packed.
No, because she said, just get us in the building. And she said, okay, you want to get in the building? There you go.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a packed barn. You know what I mean?
I don't think the Lightning were at the Lightning level.
Oh, okay.
They had a little bar across the street. Anderchuck's. Remember Dave Anderchuck?
Of course.
He had a bar across the street. We went there, went to the game. Anytime I go to a road city, I always see if the home team's in town.
Well, it would be cool to go to a hockey game. That would probably fall.
You don't do that?
Oh, of course I do.
When was the last non-Flyers hockey game you went to?
Well, I'm too connected in the hockey world, right? I have friends that play. It's like, hey, I'm in this city. All right, let me try. Like, hockey's weird for me. It's a different one. So, the last one
when
that
we went to the Super Bowl
yeah.
last year in Miami, went to Heat Celtics. Just went to the game.
So I went to, when I was playing in Vermont, we drove down to Boston and went to the TD Garden for a little Celtics game. Celtics Sixers at TD Garden. So that was probably a couple years ago, 4 or 5 years ago or so now, but I was probably like...
I went to a game at Boston Garden. It was Celtics Suns. Charles Barkley was on the Suns.
Whoa.
How'd he go?
How'd he play?
Don't remember. I was a kid. I was like 12. Sports Bets this hour brought to you by PropSwap, America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bets, take your profit, find out how at PropSwap.com or download the PropSwap app today. It's all Phillies Brewers at Miller Park. Nice venue. Back with more.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
This month, let me offer you some presidential advice. Leave me, your dollar in your wallet when you get 0% APR financing from Matt Blatt Kia.
Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve. 0% APR financing available for up to 60 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage, K5, and Forte models. Or take $4,000 off MSRP on new 2020 Kia Niros in stock. Plus Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers for Tier 1 and 2 credit for Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 for 1,000 cars. 4,000 all 2020 euros with 2,500 Kia Motors factory rebate to dealer. 1,500 Matt Blatt Kia discount. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 3/4/2021.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Thinking about life insurance? Did you know in just a few minutes you can find the best price from up to 10 price competitive companies for free? You can with SelectQuote. For example, George is 39. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $22 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino, and believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-461-4545. That's 800-461-4545. 800-461-4545. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The following is a paid announcement. The advertiser was paid a marketing fee for a digital campaign. Please make sure to review our disclaimer on our report page.
The new year is here, and the time is now to capitalize on the EV stocks boom in the U.S. markets. Text the word trade to 48542.
Here's a great opportunity that we've uncovered in the electronic vehicle space. And it's a great time to explore the massive profit potential of the EV sector with your free subscription to Energy Market Today when you text the word trade to 48542. The world is scrambling for sufficient nickel and lithium supply for the EV industry. We've identified a company that could be well positioned as the EV market drives demand for these materials. According to analysts, total EV sales are expected to grow from approximately 2.5 million units in 2020 to around 11.2 million units in 2025, then reach about 31.1 million vehicles sold worldwide by 2030. Get your free subscription to Energy Market today when you text the word trade to 48542.
Text the word trade to 48542.
Tax refunds are great for fresh starts, especially in 2021. Refresh your ride with your refund at Maaco and make the year one you'll never forget. Head to Maaco.com to get a free estimate today. Better get Maaco.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
4:52 on the Sports Bash Live. 97.3 ESPN. Mike and Brodes Final show today, so we're running out of time. We got an hour and 8 minutes to have a little fun. We'll do so next hour. Pete Thompson for Happy Hour Friday. Todd Rank's going to join us at 5:30. He's going to tell us about his. Right now, he is in a meeting about possibly being on another game show.
It's amazing. It's one of the greatest things I've heard, and I can't wait to get some more details. But speaking of great things, college basketball, and it's not quite March, but that doesn't mean the college basketball fun has to wait. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all new players the chance to bet $1 on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week. And if your team makes it rain, you cash $100. That's code 973 for new customers. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Hi, Mike and Brodes. Good luck in your next adventure. Brodes, I'm sad to see you go. You and Mike are great together, especially when with different opinions on certain topics. Thanks again, Mike, for having another great co-host. That's from Keith and Kate May.
Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate it.
Now, if I'm ranking my co-host on the depth chart,
yes,
I won't rank them, but the fans out there could.
Okay.
I've had some good ones over the years. Me and Todd always had a good time
That's
together.
the one that always pops up when I'm like, it's like, oh, yeah, Gil and Todd. Like, that's one that definitely sparks.
Well, keep in mind, we knew each other.
Right.
So that was we didn't know each other from Adam, really. You and I.
Oh, yes, I would agree with you there. Yeah. I had no idea what you were telling.
Yeah, no, we didn't know each other at all, really.
No, I agree.
But yeah, Todd and I were roommates in college.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You got a lot of background to work with.
Oh, man, we had a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we did. But look,
PT was always fun. Me and PT always did fun shows together.
Yeah, PT is one of the best in the business.
I wouldn't say that.
Nah, we love PT.
PT, hey, look, I always, it's funny. People don't realize that when, I guess it was like 2004, PT might be listening. Maybe he can fill me in on this, but he was at TV 40, and I was doing a sports show on a different station that nobody could hear. The station signal was so bad that nobody could hear it anywhere. So I was looking for other things to do, and they needed someone to do the TV 40 stuff. So I said, oh, I'll do it. So I talked to Pete. Pete was the sports director. And he went to, so he was my boss.
How about that? Now, I would like to see that dynamic because I've only seen him when you're the boss, you're the program director. It's like PT is the employee. I want to see it the other way around. Did Pete Thompson piss you off a little bit?
Well, there's one story that he holds over my head. So I'll tell it real fast. He was on vacation. I was filling in doing like the 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock news. Atlantic City is playing in like the Tournament of Champions up at Rutgers. I had not driven to Rutgers ever before. And there's like a spot where the road splits, like the parkway splits up there. And if you go to the one side, as opposed to like the local or whatever, you can't get off. You just keep going.
Should have got MapQuest. So
it out. I totally missed the game. So I had no highlights for the game. So I put together like a seasonal like montage of like their highlights for the year and just said, hey, their season came to an end. So I fixed it. But he holds that over my head all the time that I didn't know how to drive to Rutgers. And I said, quite frankly, I don't care how to drive to Rutgers. Pete Thompson's next.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action. The Flyers are in Buffalo to face the Sabres tomorrow. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ugh, nothing's worse than starting trouble. We can help you out. We can start with a free battery test. That way we'll know if your battery is causing the issue. It could be your starter or your alternator. You don't want to waste money on the wrong fix. And if you do need a new battery, we've got you covered with a wide selection of replacement batteries. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in-store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
On some models,
sales. Excludes Corvette. With GMF financing. Excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever, saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Wendy's is dropping the hammer with 2 made-to-order breakfast sandwiches for just $4.
So if you've been wronged by pre-made breakfast and their frozen folded eggs and rubbery microwaved bacon,
get to Wendy's and get the breakfast you deserve. Like the honey butter chicken biscuit, classic bacon, egg, and cheese, and the classic sausage, egg, and cheese. Choose any 2 of them for just $4. Justice is served. Only at Wendy's. We got you.
Offer valid for a limited time only. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. Single item at regular price.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. I mean, the big carriers tell you to splurge on it. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Hey, sports bettors, it's Mike Gill, and I wanted to share with you how I've been cashing in on the PropSwap Sports Bets resale app. On average, sellers on PropSwap have been making $500 a month. It's easy. All your betting tickets for sale on PropSwap and let them find you a buyer. Listing your ticket is always free, and if it sells, great. But if not, the bet is still yours to keep. If you're not selling sports bets on PropSwap, you're missing out on incredible side hustle. Start making extra money today by downloading the PropSwap app and selling your sports bets.
Video.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Pop in store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure, we can help you knock that oil change right off your list. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $29.99, plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? We can sign you up fast, right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Into the lane, reverse windmill jam. Are you kidding me?
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, the final hour of the show. It's time for Happy Hour Friday with PT here on the Sports Pass Live, 97.3 ESPN, brought to you by your Delaware Valley Acura dealers for great deals and award-winning Acura lineup. Shop online at DelValAcuraDealers.com. Happy Hour Friday with the PT. Pete Thompson is in the house, live video at 97.3 ESPN.com. You can see the PTs right there, ready to go. I think he's got a Temple Cup baby. There you go. He's got the Temple on, I'm sure. Now, PT, I just got your text there. So it was year 2004 that I was filling in for you, and you were my boss.
Yeah, it's either 04. It might have been 05, because I think I got there in 04, and I think it was just into the 05 season is when that happened. So I'm going to go with 05 is when that was.
Yeah,
but the part of the story that you failed to mention is the fact that you were like blackballed.
I ran out of time.
Okay, fine. But you were blackballed from like being on TV 40. Like the guy, remember there was a guy that was anti-Gill Brodes in management. This guy wanted no part of Mike Gill being on any payroll that was associated with 40. And,
now, why is this though? I need more information.
Mike Gill is often misunderstood. Let's put it that way.
I've never misunderstood him once in my life.
Apparently there was some issue. Apparently there was some issue with back when he was doing sports radio in a broom closet where the checks weren't actually coming the right way, or there was some disagreement. So something like that.
Yeah. So so again, I'm just starting out. I'm like in my early whatevers, and the station, it literally, like, you can't hear the station, like, if you're outside of it, you can't hear it at all. So essentially I was there talking to myself for a couple of hours a day, but you got to start somewhere. So I'm talking here, and after about 6 months or so, I stopped getting paid. And I was like, I'm not getting a paycheck. So I went up and told him, I said, I'm not getting paid. And apparently he said he told someone that they were supposed to tell me that if I wanted to keep doing the show, that they were going to have to change my agreement and all this stuff. Well, that person never told me. I didn't know. So essentially I don't know, it was a big misunderstanding, but so Pete needs someone to fill in at TV 40. So they're like, hey, there's a sports guy that works for our radio group. Now, they were owned by the same people at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. So, and then I guess they told this guy, hey, we got this guy from your radio station. He's going to do the sports while Pete's out. And that guy was like, he's not doing the sports. So I had to tell Pete what happened, and then Pete had to tell his boss had to tell that guy, and they calmed that guy.
So much more, too. The original heartbreak that played. Now, this adds a whole nother dynamic to
it. Let me tell you, think of Soviet Union and America, in the 80s and the Cold War. That was the glasnost kind of meeting that I had to go to with my TV boss. Now, Gil, were you at that meeting? Did you have to come to that one? No, I did that all on your behalf. But we went in there, basically, my TV boss and myself went in there to this radio guy that had the beef with the MG,
That guy's still alive?
No, he's no longer with us. Yeah, okay. He's no longer with us. But we had to basically go in and say, look, you may have had an issue with this guy in the past, but this is our best choice to have a guy to fill in and beat a guy, is it okay? We had to smooth it over and make it good.
Well, I think now, PT, you just probably shouldn't have taken off. I think I start to blame you. You don't take off. Be there. Be at work.
No, right. What happened, really, to give you a quick background now that I remember what happened. So I was getting paid whatever the agreement was. It wasn't very much. They were paying me, say, $600 a week to do this show. Nothing. So now at whatever point he went to the person in charge and then said, look, we're changing his agreement to basically, some people in this business, they want you to do sales and host the show, which I was not interested in doing. Well, they basically made me work on a draw system. And it was you're going to get $200 a week up against your draw, and you have to go sell. Well, I was not really notified that was going to happen and how this was changed. So here I'm doing the show, and the guy's like, well, this guy's not doing any sales. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so so he basically took it as I basically didn't do what they told me to do. And I was like, well, nobody told me about this. This is news to me. So he got all kind of butthurt about it. And, so he tells me in an email, you need to come see me at this time. So I was like, you want me to come see you? You should be coming to see me. You haven't paid me. So I go up there and he basically hey, we can't afford to keep this show on anymore. I was like, yeah, because you have a signal that's about 2 watts. So I'm like, all right, well, and he's like, we're not going to let you go. And I just start laughing at the guy, you're letting me go? All right. So,
well, look at you now. How about that?
That guy's not alive, and here I am.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Nothing to do with that part. Just
he was a nice guy, by the way.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. He just, it's a disagreement. Now, Brodes, how far up the Parkway have you been?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How far?
Driving.
Oh, this whole Rutgers thing. I was supposed to go to Rutgers to cover the Atlantic City game.
I mean, I've been all over the place. I drive to Vermont back.
Right. So you understand the concept of a local lane versus the express lanes, right? That was a completely foreign concept to the MG, and he's touring along in the TV 40 van, and he gets right in those middle lanes, and he calls me. So picture, I'm at my event or whatever it is, a wedding or a reunion, whatever I was at to be off, and he calls me and says, I got a little problem here. I said, what's the problem? He says, I'm in the middle and I can see the exit, but I can't get off. I go, what do you mean you're in the middle? He's like, I'm in the middle. I go, are you in the express lanes? And he says, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, is there grass between you and the exit? And he's like, yeah, and then more road. And I'm like, oh. And I go, dude. And he goes, well, where do I turn around? I go, New York City.
Yep, no doubt. That's hilarious. I'm surprised that MapQuest, when you printed out the directions, didn't say anything.
2005. It was just. Do you think
there was map? I thought 05 is prime MapQuest.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things, like take the Parkway up north.
Yeah, you got to print out in 8 miles. It gets all printed out paper. You're flipping through the papers while driving.
Right. Now, I had not driven up north that way. I mean, remember, I'm like 22, so I've only had.
It's hard to knock someone who's never experienced it before. Now, if you did it again, now we can have the conversation. It's like my first job ever. I worked at a golf course, right, the driving range. I flipped the golf cart day one. And I was like, man.
Oh, man.
So I had to tell the guy. Next day, I did it again. And I got fired. I never got
as you should have.
Yeah, never got back on the list.
But what PT didn't do was, look, I don't have highlights for this game, so I said, all right, don't worry, I got to figure it out. I did a highlight package of their season.
Yeah,
to kind of cover up for it.
That's a good move by you.
PT gets no credit.
Didn't I send you over to the school and tell you to go interview them? I thought that it was Atlantic High, and I said, well, look, they won the game. At the very least, you can go back and get reaction from them and mix that in. And that's, I thought, what you did.
That does sound like a PT move.
I just took highlights from, because they weren't back from Rutgers yet. I just took highlights from their season and did like, hey, they'll be remembered for this game. And they had a great team, and they had a bunch of dunks, and, I edited them all together and did like a little montage. On top of this video that Pete made me air from some girl who didn't work there, and everybody on the staff.
That's another story. Yeah, that was great. They were hating on that girl.
Oh, yeah. They gave me the stink eye, like, why did you wear that thing? And I'm like, Pete told me to.
Yeah. And I had my boss's approval. This girl was just fresh out of Temple, Brodes, and she had been my intern. But, since there was a job opening, she's like, look, can I do this? And I went to my boss and said, I'm going to be away. I need content. Can I leave this nice big 2.5-minute package on the Boardwalk Bullies, Brodes, the hockey team down here? Like the fact that they're leaving. Can I leave this? Sure, he says. Absolutely. So I have my boss's approval. Since when do I need to go to every other person on the staff and get their approval? But, oh my gosh, hell have no fury, like the newsroom scorned, right? And these ladies were not too pleased that this girl was on the air. Who is she? She doesn't deserve to be on. And poor Gil sitting there like, was I in L.A., Gil? I think I was in L.A. And I remember you called me, like I'd been on the plane, and you aired the thing at 6. But then you were like, they were all over you when you aired it. And they were like, do not air that again. And then, of course, I'm trying to like do damage control from 3,000 miles away. Like, I had so-and-so's permission. It's okay. And, that didn't end well either. So I guess I didn't set you up for the craziness.
Moral of the story is you guys it didn't seem like you got the job done a lot of the time. You're just working around the problems.
Well, see, they brought me in because they had hired someone else, but he couldn't get out of his contract for like a month. So I did it for a month, but in that month time frame, Pete was on vacation. So not only am I the only person working there, I have zero experience.
You caused all this trouble within 4 weeks.
Not me, Pete.
Yeah, no, it's the MG. There's a common denominator there, bro. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. And the funny part is, after all that time that I did the thing, people said, hey, man, why don't you do the news? You're way better than that other guy.
I can see that.
Boy. I'm going to tell that other guy you said that.
No, you were the other guy.
Oh, well, in that case, I don't believe that. That's a horrible joke. It's right on my business card. Sports guy.
Sports guy. He is the sports guy. This is Happy Hour Friday with the PT here on 97.3 ESPN. You like that one, huh?
Yeah, I just love that.
He thought I meant, what was that guy's name?
PT didn't even know who you were talking about.
I thought you were talking about Colin Rickabon. That's who you were.
Anybody remembers him.
Yeah, well, a few people do. Colin used to walk around with a bat when he walked around the TV40 offices. Nobody messed with him.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anybody outside like listening right now. They remember.
I think so. They remember. Sure. You know who remembers Colin Rickabon? The people in the ACBL. They remember.
All right. Well, there's 8 of them.
There's 10.
Margate, always a good team.
Yeah.
All right.
Lou Pepper. Got to throw out Lou Pepper. That's always a great name.
All right, Peter. A lot of stuff we want to get into in a short amount
hit
of
me.
time here. So, number one, let's go with did you watch the Sixers, Mavs, and Ben Simmons absolutely take Luka out of that game?
I knew that he took him out. I mean, I was passively watching it, and I like unmute it every so often and be like, now what's going on? And yeah, I mean, that's a testament to, Ben Simmons perhaps being the defensive MVP in my mind. I mean, that the guy consistently goes up against, it doesn't matter, he's him being 6'10", he can play inside, outside. He's so damn versatile. And yeah, he absolutely frustrated Luka Doncic, and it was fun to watch. Quite frankly, he helped them win the basketball game.
It was a lot of fun. That was one of those games where watching someone dominate defensively was actually entertaining to watch, right? It's just like, it's actually pretty fun watching this guy. I said it was like him holding the rubber chicken in his hand.
Well, Gil, you brought up too, like when you watch an offensive lineman or you watch someone specifically, when you did that with Ben yesterday, it really is amazing. Like if you just dialed in on what he was doing defensively, that's normally not like a fun watch, but it really was.
All right, Pete. I meant to ask you this before we got into that, so we'll bring it back. So Brodes had a question on Coffee with Brodes. That's something like him. Then he asked me. Now we'll ask you. You get 6 titles to spread out over 10 years.
Ooh.
How are you breaking them up?
6 titles to spread out over Philly sports teams, I presume, in 10 years.
Yeah,
well, you could pick another city if you like,
throw
but
the
that would
Temple
just
Owls in there.
That would
no. I mean, the city is Philly, okay? But 6 titles to spread out. Number 1, the Flyers. Number 2, the Flyers, because they've been waiting so long for it.
Okay, so he's going 2. All right, 2.
Right, 2 for the Flyers. Now, who else do I give one to?
One team is not going to be in PT's list.
That is correct, but I'm giving 2 to the Flyers. I'm giving 1 to the Eagles because that always makes the town a lot happier. Now I'm up to 3, right?
Yep.
I'm giving 1 to the Sixers, and I'm giving 1 to the Phillies. How many I got there?
We're at 5.
Okay, well then let's throw it.
We screwed this up. We screwed this up. 2 Flyers, 1 Eagles.
3.
2 Flyers, 1 Eagles, 1 Sixer, 1 Philly. So you still have 1 more.
Yeah, you should have 1 more.
And then I'm going to give 1 more to the Eagles. Yeah,
okay,
so I'm going
2 Flyers. He's going 2 Flyers, 2 Eagles, 1 Sixers, 1 Phillies.
Yep.
That's not a bad gig. It's not a bad. I just have a problem with this, PT, and I'm in the same boat as you. I gave 1 to the Sixers. I went 3 Super Bowls, 1 World Series, 1
Super Bowls,
1 NBA title. But my problem is,
but most people in the listening audience, I would think, would say Eagles. Like that's the
PT,
default.
Imagine this. Someone brought up to me, why not pick 6 Eagles? Now you're talking, you have the Tom Brady New England Patriots era here, if not better, because it's in a shorter amount of time.
I forgot. Was this based at all in reality, or is this complete Candyland fantasy?
Oh, yeah. Candyland. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're having some fun with it.
I mean, well, if that's the case, then I want to pivot my answer to 6 Eagles because you'd go down as one of the greatest NFL franchises of all time.
Well, then, yeah, like I have 1 Flyers, 1 Phillies, 1 Eagles, 3 Sixers. That was my breakdown.
3 Sixers.
Well, PT, imagine this. 6 Sixers. Now Embiid's in the conversation of Michael
6
Jordan.
Sixers. Oh, my God. I can't even picture that.
Look at his head spin.
Well, I said the reason why, okay, there's a couple of ways I factored this in for you boys here. Now, I explained this to Bros, but for Pete Thompson, since you're a little slower here, I'll do it.
Just call me Colin Rickabon, but go ahead.
The 3 Sixers, because all these yahoos out here who hated the process would have to now bow and say it worked.
Right.
Because, the whole
they wouldn't say that, though.
They
wouldn't have to. They could say that the titles were won far enough removed from the process that it wasn't about the process, blah, blah, blah.
No, because the 2 guys involved are Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, who are a direct result of Sam Hinkie.
All right.
So any championship that won with those guys on the team, it goes back to the Hinkie era. Right?
Yeah, I mean, but aren't you kind of like a quasi-parent now, Gil? You have children in your house, right? You're supposed to spread the love around. You're not supposed to give one kid more ice cream than the other kid.
I gave 3 to the Sixers and 1 to everybody else. Everybody else got a scoop. I just gave 3 scoops. I gave 3 scoops to the eldest. He earned.
Brodes, what was your breakdown again?
I went 3 Eagles, and then I went 1, 1, and 1. So we're going Eagles Super Bowls, and then each squad gets 1.
My reason for the only 1 Eagles Super Bowl is that I watch the Super Bowl every year with enjoyment. I don't need to Eagles to be in the game, I'll still watch it. So I'm not one of these people that care that my team has 5 Super Bowls 40 years ago. I'm not going to cling on to that. I've already seen the Eagles win a Super Bowl, and people bitch and moan 2 years later about getting rid of it. So winning the Super Bowl does nothing to keep the credibility of the franchise at a level that it should be. So I'm out on needing the Eagles to win a Super Bowl. So I only need 1 there. Phillies would be I thought about giving 3 to the Phillies.
I'm with you there.
And take the 3 from the Sixers, because I love baseball. I love the World Series, but I don't really watch the World Series. If the Phillies aren't in, I kind of bail out. Pete's got a very jolly look on his face.
I thought he was listening the whole time with that face, and he was that excited about where we were going with this.
Me too.
He's frozen, and he's not smiling at all.
But that face looks like he's not frozen. He kind of looks like he.
I'm taking a screenshot right now of this face.
But that was my reasoning, was that
I
the World Series.
Look at that's probably PT calling in.
That the World Series
smile.
I don't watch with like the same earnest with the Phillies aren't in it. I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm all in on it. Give me it. I need more.
All right, there you go. PT froze, and now he's back.
Well, back via my wonderful voice. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm going to go over and rough up somebody at Comcast when we get off the phone here. So you better, if you work at Xfinity, you better look out. PT's coming.
Now, interestingly enough, Pete Thompson, my father is watching the show on Facebook, and he says, Simmons, this is based on your answer, Simmons needs to be a little more humble. After the game, he pronounced himself the best defensive player in the league. He said that before. He needs to be quiet. I don't know that I agree with that, Pop. Like, I like the fact that Ben Simmons is verbose with something, because everybody knocks him. Oh, you don't shoot. You're not good enough at this. You don't do enough at that. And he says, you know what? I just took your buddy Luka Doncic out of the game there. You know why? Because I'm the best. You want him to be more humble?
That's interesting. And he did that. Well, and of course, remember, it was a TNT game last night. So he might not have done that had it been the local telecast, but a national telecast, knowing that there's more eyeballs on him, then he chooses to open up his mouth and talk a little, what. That's interesting. You're right. Usually that would be, remember a couple of years ago, Joel Embiid called himself the best defensive player in the league. And the votes did not back that up, and neither did the award at the end of the year. But Ben Simmons looked amazing the other night.
Well, to be fair, there was I think it was the previous game on NBC Sports Philly. He did pre and post with Amy Fadul, or he did the pre with Amy Fadul during warmups. And it just stood out to me that this is the most open we've seen Ben Simmons. He has now been talking, answering questions pre and post game for a little bit now, like the last couple of games. And is he now getting comfortable and becoming more open to this city on a personal level?
Well, how about last night on the TNT broadcast when they had him on and he was like, yeah, no problem. And Kenny the Jet asked him, he said, well, you're not very comfortable shooting 3. Like, that's just not part of the game. And I thought he was like, the way he kind of answered that was almost like, yeah, you know what? I don't need to shoot 3s. You know why? Because I just do what I do. Like, he feels like,
I just shut down your top guy. Yeah, here's the thing. Okay, so 2-pronged answer to your question, Brodes. Is he getting more comfortable? Yeah, but he's also, the local NBC Sports Philadelphia cut out all the stuff. This is the new norm. And they are the rights holders, so this is the new norm. Like, hey, you're going to be on with this guy. I mean, he could big time him and say, like, I'm not doing that, give somebody else the thing, but he's not going to do that. And then, two, to me, it's been interesting because if you had a list of, like, Philly sports athletes that were, like, the best athlete but the worst interview, Simmons in his early years would be on that list, and Chase Utley for his entire career would be on that
Aaron
list.
Nola.
Chase Utley, unbelievable baseball player, awful interview.
I think Aaron Nola might have the worst personality in sports. Is that a little crazy to say or no?
No, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's not oozing with personality.
No, not at all. He's got nothing to him.
Well, maybe you learn from the veteran. Like, listen, Jamie Moyer could talk. He could read the phone book and make it interesting, and he would go on for hours and hours and hours. Not everybody's wired the same way. I mean, I had a conversation with Aaron Nola once in San Diego when he was a rookie, and I had a very nice conversation with him, but I didn't have a microphone in my face, and we were both just 2 guys sitting outside the hotel, on a beautiful sunny Saturday.
I had him on the day he got drafted from LSU, and I kind of remember him being very, just very bland and kind of quiet.
He's
but
just
he's
a quieter
like
guy. Yeah, for sure. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, like, in terms of personality on the microphone, and he has a commercial that's always being aired. It's like, whoa, let's put a little,
PT
juice in that.
Yes.
All right. So on this conversation, Brodes, we were talking about, will Claude Giroux, as a Flyer, win a cup?
Oh, God. Well, if I get my 2 cups on the wish list that I had, yes. But I actually have a sneaky feeling that he might not win a cup. I mean, he's in the twilight of his career, right? I mean, even though the numbers would back up that he's still playing at a high level as anybody. And look how much impact he had the other night. He came right back in the lineup after, I would assume that he had COVID. I mean, he was on the COVID protocol. I think that the rumor was that he had it.
Yeah, I think he did.
And I mean, my God, 3 assists for the 23rd time in his career. The guy, I know, Gil, you go back and forth over, he's got to be the best player on the team and all that analogy that you run down about Claude Giroux. But will he win a cup? I'm going to go with no.
All right, well, I'm looking at his contract right now. He's got this year remaining. He's got 1 more season after that, and then he's a UFA at age 34. Do you think that Claude Giroux is a for-lifer here in Philadelphia? Like, he'll just take a cheaper contract and sign for whatever the deal is. But at 34, like, there still might be a couple years left. Do you think that he's a for-lifer Philadelphia Flyer once this contract runs out?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to say because you look at people like Big Z, right, who you thought would be a for-lifer Boston Bruin, and eventually you just get to a point where it's like, well, I'm not going to play for free. Well, sir, you're not playing for free. Well, I'm not going to play for that, And you see people now, the league's changed. The concept of for-lifers, especially in hockey, the concept of, because the career runs longer and people still think they have stuff left in the tank. Think about him. I mean, Yager's an extreme example in the other direction of how many teams he played for, but Paul Coffey, right? You see guys that can actually go. I mean, Gordie Howe is the ultimate example of guys that could play into their 40s even. I'm not saying Giroux could play when he's 40, but I think he will have stuff left in the tank. Do I think he'll take a sweetheart deal or just to stay here? No, I think he'd go on somewhere else. Somebody else was for more money.
All right, it's a happy hour Friday with the PT, Pete Thompson, and of course he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Peter, this is the last show with Brodes. Do you have any words of encouragement, any stuff that you would like to leave him with?
Beer for breakfast, Brodes. Beer for breakfast. Always have beer for breakfast.
That's fantastic. I appreciate that. We had a great time on that Pete Thompson show. We did.
We sure did. Hey, it's Lou from Ocean City. Lou Nolan. Oh, hey, Lou.
I never forget that. I was producing the show, and I'm like, oh, we got Lou on hold. And I didn't know who it was, so I text him, hey, Lou's on hold, just so you know. I let him know through the messenger, and then we pop it up, and it's, it's not just your standard Lou.
Pretty good one.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
All right, Peter, we'll talk soon.
All right, guys, stay in touch. Sorry that we had to go voice at the end there, but love you both.
All right, Pete Thompson, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Brought to you by Broadley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your local provider who can make it easy to upgrade your home to the most energy-efficient equipment on the market. Plus, learn how to get free furnace during the month of March. Only visit them at broadleys.net. All right, when we come back, what does it take to be on a game show? You will find out coming up right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And don't forget, watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Euro steps by him and scores it up and good. What a move. Are you kidding me?
The Sixers host the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
This month, let me offer you some presidential advice. Leave me, your dollar in your wallet when you get 0% APR financing from Matt Blatt Kia.
Matt Black Kia wants to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve. 0% APR financing available for up to 60 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage, K5, and Forte models. Or take $4,000 off MSRP on new 2020 Kia Niros in stock. Plus Matt Black Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Offers for Tier 1 and 2 credit for Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 cars. 4,000 all 2020 euros with 2,500 Kia Motors factory rebate to dealer. 1,500 Matt Black Kia discount. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Expires 3/4/2021.
Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Hey, sports bettors, it's Mike Gill, and I wanted to share with you how I've been cashing in on the PropSwap Sports Bets resale app. On average, sellers on PropSwap have been making $500 a month. It's easy. Just post all your betting tickets for sale on PropSwap and let them find you a buyer. Listing your ticket is always free, and if it sells, great. But if not, the bet is still yours to keep. If you're not selling sports bets on PropSwap, you're missing out on incredible side hustle. Start making extra money today by downloading the PropSwap app and selling your sports bets.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Recently, Total Wireless helped Charlie Michelle stage a virtual dance recital for her friends and family.
This event was super meaningful to them.
Because when you move to Total Wireless, you can get amazing devices on nationwide 5G. And with unlimited plans starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-20-20. See terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
The following is a paid announcement. The advertiser was paid a marketing fee for a digital campaign. Please make sure to review our disclaimer on our report page.
The new year is here, and the time is now to capitalize on the unprecedented boom in the U.S. markets. It's a modern-day green gold rush as millions of people using CBD for panic and anxiety are searching for a safe anti-prescription remedy to alleviate stress. This market has a combined annualized growth rate of 52% and is projected to grow over $89 billion by 2026. That's why we want to send you a free subscription to Avid Market News Trends when you text the word green to 48542. Get this red-hot intelligence delivered directly to your mobile device so you can make decisions as market conditions change. We've identified a company that could put you in a prime position to profit from this modern-day green gold rush. Find out which companies are setting the standard when you text the word green to 48542 for your free subscription to Market News Trends. Text green to 48542.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, 5:30 here on a Sports Bash Friday. Happy Hour Friday. What's up, everybody? As we get ready to take you to the top of the hour, don't forget tonight, game night. Ben Golliver will talk a little NBA during game night tonight with Josh at 6. This is Happy Hour Friday. By the way, how about this comment from my father? This is classic. Lou Nolan borrowed my crib 40 years ago.
It's insane.
You like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool story.
So Lou Nolan, the Flyers PA address announcer, borrowed a crib from my father 40 years ago.
Well, it looks like
so
he borrowed
Lou Nolan
your...
has now come up twice in today's show.
Yeah, it looks like he borrowed your crib, though. Like
it was my crib.
Specifically.
He needed a crib. My dad said, yeah, I have a crib. You can take my son's.
Nice. How about that?
Pretty neat, huh?
That is a pretty cool story. Not as cool as being on game shows, though.
Todd Rank is here, and it appears that his drought of game shows is over. So yesterday we were talking about like the process of what it takes to go through all this stuff. So I said, I know someone who can give us some information on that.
How's it going, guys?
Fantastic.
He's got an Eagles hat on.
I know.
By the way.
I see it. He's rocking the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's funny in the pre-show. I put the beanie on. I go, you know what? No, let me put on the Eagles hat. We do it appropriate. You know what I mean? Good to see all you guys.
Yeah, man. So we were explaining yesterday about this whole like what the process is. How do you even get on a game show, let alone the amount of game shows that you've been on? How many have you actually been on?
So I've been on 5, and then I was picked to be a pilot contestant for a show over in Australia, which was actually a really cool experience. But yeah, so basically I've been on 6 shows, but it was a little bit of a drought, Bill, because when you and me were knowing each other, before I even came over to do the show, that's when I made the run from 2000 to 2010. We just made a push every other day. You were like, dude, what show are you going on? So it was a nice run, and it was just random. And then I took some time off, kind of retired from it, I would say. And then I started looking, and it's kind of cyclical, right? And the game show came back around, and there's some more back on the air. And there's some really cool ones that we watched when we were kids. Card Sharks, Press Your Luck, all these shows are coming back. And I said, you know what? Those are a couple I haven't been on.
Very good. Now, I want to know.
There's a couple I haven't been on.
Does the Tinder profile say game show? Like, you put that in the Tinder profile?
You know what? That's a great point, Brodes, and I really should use that to my benefit, which I have not. I like to keep, although I try to keep that for like, date number 1 or 2, where you kind of slide that in there, and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Well, last night I told him I had to talk to him. I had something to ask him, and he tells me, well, I got a young lady coming over. I said, it's COVID's going on. You're still having ladies come over.
Well, that's just anyone. Let's be real.
Well, come on. You don't know who's got what.
Yeah, you can say that for a lot of things.
To my defense, fellas, I've been pretty much a priest for the last 12 months. So
you and everybody else out there, the single guys.
What's that?
You and every other single guy out there.
I'm telling you, I've been a priest. I've been very good. You're starting to get the outdoor dinings back. You say, hey, why don't we go get a cocktail? You know what I mean? It's back to the game, baby. Just saying hello to everybody.
Outdoor dining is the clincher. So yesterday, we played the clip of you on Price is Right. I showed Brodes the video of you walking down. Do you remember the moment of Todd B. Rank? You threw that Burnham in there. You threw the bit.
How funny is that? They looked at my card that I'd filled out, and he didn't know what to do with it, so he pronounced the B for the middle name because that's how I sign things. And it was so funny because I heard Todd B, and I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, and then he goes Rank, and I go, whoa. And it was sheer jubilation, like jubilation. I was ecstatic. And, of course, you see me running down. I wanted to high five the guy in the military, and then there's the old granny. I want to give her a hug and the whole thing. That was the cool. But it was almost like, and again, people go out here. They come out to get in the audience. They want to experience that when they're on vacation or whatever. To get there and then to get on stage and all, there's this energy. There's kind of this, you either feel it or you don't. Now, my sister would probably get sick. She doesn't want to be anywhere around people or cameras or anything like that. But the energy in the room became an addiction for me.
Oh,
in the sense that, right, you want to do it every
the first one that you were on?
Price is Right was number 1.
Right. So you're on Price is Right first. Now, have you seen the Netflix documentary about the guy who constantly kept going to Price is Right and he memorized all of like the prices and everything?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, he knew all the prices like when they were up there. This is back in like the 80s. So he kept using the same products all the time and he memorized all of them. And then he finally got the call up there and he crushed them for all this money.
So smart. I mean, that's, again, a lot of these guys, and I do, honestly, when I go on these shows prior to, if I know I'm going to be on the show, I do research, right? I was on Deal or No Deal. You know what I did every day on my computer? I played the Deal or No Deal game over 1,000 times and kept playing numbers. And how would you do in this strategy, in this scenario? And when I got on the show, I was prepared.
Well, that's like someone doing a mock fantasy draft. You just don't know. I mean, you could ask for that thing in all your things, and then that suitcase could be different.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
it's
just
still
wasted your time.
It's still preparation, though. It's like, okay, here's that moment. I got to make sure when I'm on the clock here, you're under pressure.
Because that's what it is. The pressure gets to you. So you got to have something in your head, a strategy already set, so that the pressure doesn't get to you and you crumble. For example, the Deal or No Deal, all these shows are luck-based, a lot of them. I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them. The ones I get on are very luck-based. That's my strategy. You get on luck-based, you got a chance to win big. But when you get on, like for Deal or No Deal, I already knew the numbers that I was going to pick as the suitcases. So that took a part of the luck out of it so that I wouldn't get in my head and go, oh, you should have picked that number. You should have picked that number. I just said, you know what? Here are my sequence of numbers. I'm either going to have a great day or I'm not going to have a very good day.
All right, so the first one is Price is Right.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Wheel of Fortune, 2003.
Wheel of Fortune. That's the same type of deal.
Again, guessing letters. I'm not good at puzzles, but the more letters I guess right, the more I get up there, I start to look at it, I start to see it, and it's dumb luck, right? And I got enough puzzles to get me to the final puzzle. And we know that final puzzle was a scam, by the way. We've admitted to that. I mean, that category was unacceptable.
What was it? Whoa. What was the category?
So they put me to the final puzzle, and they say the category is noun. Now, first off, that's a generic one anyway.
Noun.
But it's noun.
Person, place, or thing.
And they went with the thing because that made it even harder. Wow. And the answer was food cravings. How do you compare? I mean, that's a tough one to put in a noun category.
That's brutal. Now, what I want to know is, because Gil was telling me about the one where they like put you in this house and they make you sweat. And
Hold on. We'll
sorry.
get to that.
I know. I need to know. I'm like,
that was
the knowledge.
That was the way. That was like he had a little hiatus and then he went to that.
Okay, all right. So
then
we'll
after
continue the
Fortune,
timeline.
right? After Wheel of Fortune, you go to
Fear Factor 2006.
Right, and that's the one where you're supposed to go couples with your girl. You guys split up and you end up going with her sister.
Correct. I went with the ex-girlfriend's sister, so that made its own little game. And for that episode, it was the people's choice. So they did 10 couples. We did a little video. They put it up online, and then people voted for who they wanted to be on the show. And me and my partner got one of the top 4 votes. So those 4 teams went on to play. And then we were able to win the show. But here's the thing, Brodes.
Yeah.
Everybody gets nervous about that show, or they did, because they didn't want to eat anything. I didn't either. But I said, let's go on the show and see what happens. And lo and behold, my show, we didn't have to eat anything.
That's crazy. Now, I want to know, did the public know about the whole ex-girlfriend side of things? Was that publicly known, or is that just internal?
It was, well, Joe Rogan brought it up on the show.
Okay.
So everybody could know. But
yeah.
I think the People's Choice didn't really know that. No.
Okay. That's
right.
a funny dynamic.
Yeah, because he was like, wait a minute. He's like, whoa, hold up. He's like, what is going on here? I was like, oh, no, we're good. We're good.
One stunt that I remember was you had to wear the sumo outfits and you had the dogs ripping you guys.
Yeah, which is a great one because we went first in this stunt. They got these, I forget what the name of that one bulldog or pit bull was that was always on. And so we had 2 dogs. They're police dogs. You're in the sumo suits. You're doing an obstacle. And the policemen let these dogs loose on you. And they lock on. And they lock the jaw. So they don't let go. And they tell you, don't kick the dog. You're not allowed to do anything like that to the dog. But you're going to just drag that dog. But they said if the dog's jaws clench through the suit and get your arm or leg, there was like a safe word. And if you scream that word, they'll get the dog off you, but now you're disqualified. Like the game's over for you.
You lose.
So what happened is we went first. After we went, what did I do? I got into the heads of the other 2 groups and I said, I'll tell you what, I felt those teeth. They were right up on my arm. And I said, it was piercing me. And that you should have seen the ghost faces on these other 2. They were done. It was over. They didn't even need to compete. They weren't moving on.
Those teeth, they pierce. All right, so now your Fear Factor, that's done. You win that game.
Yeah.
And you go to?
The big one, Deal or No Deal. Yeah.
Right. Now, Deal or No Deal was the year that I was in Clearwater and you called me and said, right, I'd like you to fly me out there. And I said, well, come on, that ticket's like $1,000. And you said, right, I'll pay you back. And I said, well, how are you going to pay me back? Well, I can't tell you how much. But just believe me, I got you. I pay for that ticket.
Yeah, that was a funny one because when we taped it, there's always a 3-month. They have 3 months to air it, and then they have another 3 months to pay you the money, whatever you win. So it's up to 6 months after you've taped the show. You know you've won this huge amount of money. So we do that. I taped it, I think, in February. Gil, we're going in March, and I said, and he last minute he goes, hey, why don't you kind of go, look, because we can't tell you what we did, how we did, if we made it, whatever. And I go, all I'm going to tell you is, if you buy me that plane ticket, I can guarantee you I will reimburse the plane ticket. So that tells you, all right, I want at least like whatever. It was expensive though, Gil, because it was last minute. It was probably like
$900.
Yeah, it was like a $900.
I was already there.
Right. So we said, you know what? I can pay you for that. So that was kind of a funny story, but that was a great. I'll tell you for the people listening too. What's cool about it is that that show airs in an hour, about 40 minutes, 20 minutes of commercials. We taped that show for over 3 hours.
Deal or no deal?
Yes. We were in that studio.
What is the process to how many steps to get on that show?
So for that one, it was extreme. There were 4 levels of interviews. You go from the first generic one, and again, I tell these people, for the most recent one that I'm interviewing for, I sent in an application that anybody can do online. You can send in a little video attached to it, and then they get in touch with you. Bottom line. I mean, I didn't do anything different than anybody else would do. And then they called me 2 days later, which is a little bit crazy. They don't usually get back to you that quick, but that was, again, they might be able to look and see that I've been on, because you have to tell them you've been on other shows. It used to hurt me because the more you're on, then they're like, whoa. We don't want people to recognize you. But now I've had a gap of over 10 years. I think now it's to my benefit to go, he can be a good show, but he hasn't been on in a long time.
Now, what was the one? What was so then there's Deal or No Deal. Then the last, the torture one. What was the name of that show?
That one was Solitary 3.0.
There you go.
It was on Fox Reality TV. So it wasn't on a national network. It was on a cable network. This is the different one. This is the only one that was ever different in the process of auditioning. I never auditioned. They called me, a producer from another show called another producer and said, hey, we got to fill one more spot. And a producer who worked with me on another show said, I got a guy. So the producer called.
You get to the level where I got a guy.
Yeah, you're the guy. You're the guy.
Because normally, again, and I want to tell this to the listeners, none of this is fixed. When I did the Deal or No Deal, only the 2 people, there's like 2 security people who put the numbers in the suitcases. Not even the producers or the directors know what's in those suitcases. So they're playing the game along with you. And I mean that in all honesty, because a lot of people think, oh, it's been fixed or this guy would never do this. I'm just telling you, they've gotten rid of all that. There was a lot of that back in the day. They've made sure that's not a part of it. But for this show, they needed to fill a spot. The guy calls me and goes, do you want to be on the show? And I go, how much is the reward? That's the most important thing to me. How much am I going to win? And he said, $50,000. I go, done. I'll try it. Not knowing anything about the show, not looking on any research. The morning of the show, they picked me up at my apartment in Redondo Beach. They blindfold me in the car, and an hour and a half later, I end up in some warehouse, still blindfolded. They walk me into my pod. They shut the door. They say, good luck. They chain my entire body up in chains, and then a computer voice comes on and says, Todd, welcome to Solitary.
There you go.
Wow.
Now, during that show, how much did you eat or sleep? How many days were you there?
So the winner was 10 days. I made it 6.5 days.
Wow. And I still contend that he tapped out too early.
I'd love for Gil to have done the actual challenge that I was doing and to tell me I tapped out early because
like the one you did was you had to squeeze the sweat off your own shirt into a cup.
So that was the first, after we got out of the chains. The next one was they put you in like a raincoat, a full body raincoat, and I'm in my boxers. And they go, the next challenge is there's a little vial that you need to fill with your own sweat to a certain line. And in order to do this, you must build up sweat. You have to run, you have to jump. And when you start to build up that sweat, you'll get it onto this raincoat that you're wearing. You take it off, you squeeze that raincoat to get the sweat into the vial. At this point, I knew I'd come into a game that I didn't want to be a part of, but I couldn't turn around and go back. So we kept going, and I started to win every challenge. So then I was becoming the favorite to win the whole thing again. And then it just hit this one. I made it to the Final Four. And this one that I did, the last one, all I'm going to say is this. I was in a gorilla suit. I was eating bananas. And at some point, I said enough's enough. And apparently I was the first one to give up. So I got knocked out.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm bad with that stuff, like the mental side, because it's so like it's dumb. Like the fact that you're in a gorilla suit, like that's not important enough for me to be like, I'm gonna fight through this mentally.
Well,
I know
part of it was,
but
part of it was you didn't get to sleep or eat. Like they would wake your ass up, right?
Well, this was the problem, Brodes. It was all about a willpower, because they chose when you slept, they chose when you ate. You would win a reward, which would be like an hour of sleep. You didn't know what time of day it was. You didn't know what the clock was. So they kept asking you, like, how many days do you think you've been in here? What time of day do you think it is? I mean, you're out of your mind. You're losing your mind. You got nothing to see anything.
That's crazy. I couldn't do that. I honestly think I'm too mentally weak to do something like that.
So you have a 10-year hiatus, and now what?
And I'm not going to say the show. I will say there are game shows out there right now. I applied for this one that I've seen. I will say this. I watched this show when I was younger. It was my favorite game show. And I'm a big game show guy. This was my favorite game show. It has come back. The money has gotten bigger. And for that purpose, I said, why not take a shot? It's been a little bit. I've been gone for a little while. Lo and behold, they got in touch with me. I did the first interview. Was it yesterday on the phone? It went really well, right? And to tell people kind of what that is, they're just really wanting to get to know you. And you do need to have some high energy. You want to be excited, obviously. You want to be excited you're going to go on a game show. They talk to you. They do the thing. She goes, look, I really enjoy you. We're going to move you on to phase 2. Today was phase 2. I got on camera with a gentleman doing a casting, and we were on for about 30 minutes. This was a little more intense. There was some sweat coming down the side of my face a little bit. They ran me through the game as if I was there. So now you're there and almost imitating what you would do. What would be your reaction? They gave me trivia questions to try and figure out, could I get them? Could I not get them? I will tell you, I didn't do as well today on the trivia as I did yesterday. And I will give you a funny side note. One of the questions yesterday, you know that rhyme where it's, I don't know how it goes, but seashells through the seashore, through the sea, all that?
Yeah.
So they say that. Then they make reference to Atlantic City, believe it or not, I kid you not. And then they go, in what state would you be? I said, well, that's a gimme for me. I jumped right on it.
You jump on it.
I said, thank you for that, New Jersey. Boom. And I got it. So that was just lo and behold. But today,
They pay you for these things? Like, do you get any compensation for all this time?
No.
Nothing. No. You get anything for sitting in the crowd at Price is Right? No. What was the one you sat in? You used to sit in the crowd at the freaking.
Come on, that was Judge
Judy
and Judge Joe Mathis.
Well, I was with Jerry Springer, and I was in the stands once, and I saw some things. I was scarred. I saw some beads flying around.
Did you get any money for being in the audience or no?
No. So it was, when I played junior, our owner of the team said, everyone bring their IDs to this showcase we're going in Connecticut. We're like, is he bringing us to a strip club? Like, I don't think he can do that. And we pull up on our team bus to Jerry Springer, and we were in the crowd, and we went nuts. But no, we didn't get paid or anything. But I saw some things I don't know if I want to see again.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, and again, they try to fill those stands. So half of Judge Judy was probably tourists that just wanted to see the show. The other half was me making $50 or whatever it was. You know what I mean? It was
pay those people like $50 to sit in the crowd.
That's not a bad day in the office.
All right,
So-
we got to go.
And I will say this, Gil. The good news, we move on to phase 3. That'll probably happen in a couple weeks. So we'll keep you updated,
We get that update.
right? We'll let you know. But appreciate it. It's great to see you guys. I love this new platform. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody who's watching out there. You can, of course, be a part of the show, watch the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com. All right, we'll try to do a lot more and have a lot more to do, and I think we're going to run out of time on tonight's show. I think we went a little too long.
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually.
All right, good to see you, man.
Great to see you guys. Stay safe.
All right, back with the 5 if we can next.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action. The Flyers are in Buffalo to face the Sabres tomorrow. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
It's a new year and an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. 2020 Nissan Kicks. $4,000 off MSRP on in-stock units or get 0% APR financing for 60 months on new in-stock Nissan Kicks, Sentra, or Altima models. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan has fast-track checkout available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. We want to help with your credit approval today so you can drive a new Nissan with 0% APR financing. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township or online at mattblattnissan.com. Unapproved credit. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. All factory rebates and incentives to dealer. 0% APR financing based on 1516 for 1,000 borrowed. Offers can't be combined. Call 888-731-5030 for all the details. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
What's the most important factor for determining a coin's value? Rarity. And now, the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in the creation of a modern rarity.
When the West Point Mint was shut down due to health concerns, 240,000 emergency production 2020 American Eagle silver dollars were minted in Philadelphia for 13 days only.
And that makes these coins with the P-Mint attribution the second rarest coin in the entire American Eagle bullion coin series.
Less than 1,500 of these extraordinary silver dollar coins remain. Hurry, call government.com at 1-800-863-7267.
To learn more about these emergency production American Eagle silver dollar coins, call 1-800-863-7267.
Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $10 value free with every order. Call 1-800-863-7267 now to secure your Philadelphia Mint American Eagle silver dollar coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-863-7267.
You ready for competition? It's time for 5 questions.
3 ain't enough, man. 95.
Number 5 will always love you.
I got 5 on it.
5 times, not 10, you think.
It is the final 5 for Brodes. This is his final show, his final 5 right now.
Sad moment. And I only have 4, so the 5th one's going to come off the top of my head. Over the weekend, what do you got planned for the weekend? Anything good?
You know what? I haven't even thought about it. I didn't even realize it was the weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's Friday.
I'm ripping up my carpet in my basement because it flooded. So my weekend is work.
I found a new low-cal, low-carb IPA.
Best one yet, or?
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh. So what was the other one you mentioned to me?
Oh, I found 2.
Okay.
But that one I had already had before. It's new, but I had it once other time. I bought 2. This one is a 16-ouncer, too. It's a 16er.
Whoa.
Called Terrapin.
I'll have to give it a shot.
First time I've seen it around here.
All right.
There's one other one around here I haven't been able to find anywhere yet that I'm trying to find. If anybody knows where they can find the Deschutes Wowza, it's called. I need to find that.
All right. All right, so the Flyers have 2 games this weekend against the Sabres, both of them. 0-2, 1-1, 2-0. 0-1-1. You want to get a little fancy on me, a little shootout loss? What do you think?
I feel like the Flyers haven't played forever. I know they played on
Wednesday
night.
Yeah.
But, Buffalo's,
Yeah,
A little 1-1.
1-1 action. All right, that's fair. It's a fair assessment.
You're getting both goalies. You're getting an Elliott Hart. Now, who wins, Hart or Elliott?
Dare I say Moose? Sixers. They beat the Caps?
Yeah, definitely. They get revenge there. Big time blowout. Take the Sixers.
Here's my 4th.
Oh, by the way, over for Embiid.
Over. For
whatever points it is, finally, he's going to get over.
Okay. Phillies, 80.5. That's their win total. Do you like it? Do you think it's over?
No.
You think it's under?
I mean, it's 80.5. You want to bet it over? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going over. You kidding me? I see 86. And I don't have a 5th question. So that's where our 5's going to end, sadly.
Well, that's apropos because we're out of time. Coffee with Brodes, 9 o'clock on Twitter at Brodes81. Sports Talk with Brodes after every Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, Eagles. and check out what else is happening at Brodes Media. That's all through your Twitter account and his YouTube channel. All right, Brodes, it's been a pleasure, man.
It's been the best.
We enjoyed bringing you the Sports Bash with Mike and Brodes. I'll be back on Monday with who knows.
Hey, South Jersey, it's Billy Schwein. It's an exciting weekend in the locker room. We will review all the hot topics from the week. On Saturday, we'll talk with six-time Stanley Cup champion and a Hockey Hall of Fame legend, Mark Messier, about his career and what he's doing now. On Sunday, we'll be talking baseball. Sunday's guest is former Phillies relief pitcher, Scott Air. A Sixers recap and a Flyers preview. All the action starts every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.
On some models excludes Corvette. With GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever. Saving you up to 25% off MSRP on